Good morning! Who's ready for some UNCLELOU Live? I am. We're going to take a bunch of phone calls today. I want to talk about college football scheduling today. I've got a lot of comments about Alabama's 2019 schedule over the last couple of days, a couple of weeks, whatever. I want to talk a little bit about college football scheduling and which sport has the worst regular season of all the major sports in America. Let me know what you think. And a ton of your phone calls also in too. And we better do that here in just a minute.
Stop mistreating UNCLELOU!
Good morning. It's Uncle Lou here. Yep, that's right. It's me, Uncle Lou, live for you on LouTube today. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it also. And I'll take your phone calls here in just a second, but you guys know the routine by now. We have to get through the morning announcements. Shout out to Lanier HVAC Services. They sponsor these live shows that I do. So if you guys live in the Athens, Atlanta, or Gainesville, Georgia areas, and excuse me, and need some work done on your HVAC unit, give the good people over at Lanier HVAC Services a call. They'll take good care of you. They do good work too. Their phone number is 678-943-1351. Tell them Uncle Lou said, good morning. If you're interested in sponsoring the Uncle Lou Show in some type of way, just email crazyunclelou@gmail.com. What else? No NFL talk tonight. We've been doing NFL every Tuesday night, having Bad Dog on. But, of course, we have a week off before the Super Bowl, so we're going to have Bad Dog on again next Tuesday to talk about the Super Bowl, so we don't have to talk about NFL today, unless you guys want to. It's up to you. The comment on the comments videos, I know you guys like them. You guys say you want to see more. I pulled up the analytics on my channel today. Guess how many comments were left on LouTube in the last 28 days? Just take a wild guess. How many comments left on LouTube in the last 28 days? I'll tell you the answer in a minute. I'm going to talk about college scheduling for a minute, and when you call in, you can give me your opinion on it. Worst regular season in all of sports. I want to talk about that, too. And, of course, we can't forget Tennessee, #1 in basketball. Shout out to the Vols, ranked #1 in the AP poll. So far, no one is even close. Well, someone said 1 million. That's way too high. Someone said 22,000. That's way too low. It's 40,000. 40,275 comments left on LouTube in the last 28 days. So I should have no problem getting some more of those comment on the comment videos out for you guys. But anyway, that's what's on my mind today. College scheduling, worst regular season in all of sports. What is it? Tennessee's #1 in basketball. Whee! January Madness champs. And I say this not enough. I should say this more, and I'm going to take a minute and say it now. I have the absolute best viewers and comment section on all of YouTube, period. And no one will ever convince me otherwise. There are channels that are 1,000 times bigger than mine. There's channels I'm sure that get 1,000 times as many comments as mine. There's channels that have been around way longer than mine. There's channels that are better than mine. Nobody has viewers and a comment section like I have here. I talk a lot of trash on this channel, but I can't separate sports from trash talk. I just can't. I understand that turns a lot of people off, and that's okay. I have to take the bad with the good. But I really appreciate all you guys who watch this channel, whether you are subscribed, whether you like the videos, whether you comment, whether you call in, any type of interaction. Patreon members, non-Patreon members, you guys that share the videos in different places. It really means a lot to me that you guys do that. And every once in a while, one of you guys will send me something. And I appreciate everything that everyone has ever sent me. And I always try to mention it on a live show whenever somebody sends me something. And, this totem pole that Vol Roadshow sent me whenever, a month or so back. That picture, I can't reach it. It's up there. I've showed it before, that someone painted and sent to me. People go to games that I'm not able to go to, and they'll send me souvenir cups or even ticket stubs. Somebody went to the Georgia-Florida game and sent me a whole box full of just like souvenir type stuff from the Georgia-Florida game a couple of seasons ago. All the Christmas cards, condolence cards when my mom passed away last month. And it's not about the money when anyone sends me anything. The fact that anybody even thinks to do it or takes time out of their day to do it, it blows me away, no matter what it is that you guys send me. But somebody sent me something today, and it happens the same way every time. People rarely tell me what they're sending me, and I always tell them the same thing: just don't send anthrax. And this definitely isn't anthrax. And So, Doc, shout out to you, sir. You know who you are. He's an Alabama fan. The FedEx man knocked on my door today. I wasn't expecting anything. This big package shows up in the mail. This guy sent me I know it's probably hard to see, but this is a 14-channel studio grade mixer soundboard. I mean, I'm rarely at a loss for words. I couldn't believe it. And that's not it. 2 studio grade microphones. Audio Technica XLR microphones. And all the wires, all the stuff to go with it. I mean, and I've already talked to him earlier and thanked him personally, but and I asked him if it would be okay if I thanked him on the show tonight, and he said yes. So, Doc, again, thank you, sir. I don't even think I told Doc this, but my dad has been a musician all his life, not professionally, but he's just played music all his life, so he knows all about this kind of stuff. And about a year ago, really when I first started doing this show, sort of the way I do it now with the phone calls and all that kind of stuff, I looked into getting some of this stuff to try to make it sound better for you guys, a way to run the phone calls through the system instead of just propping the phone up against the microphone like I do now. I looked into doing a lot of this kind of stuff. And I looked at getting a mixer. And honestly, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I even called my dad, and I had him come over, and I said, this is what I want to do. And we got to looking around. And I mean, this stuff is not cheap. And I said, I just don't know if I want to spend that money to do it. And then what if I don't know what I'm doing? Anyway, long story short, this guy had no idea about any of this. I've never talked to this guy about wanting this stuff or anything. And I mean, I literally was at a loss for word. It just blows me away that somebody that has never met me this guy. I'm not going to tell you where he lives, but if the return address on the box that he sent me is correct, he lives 4 or 5 states away. Never met me. He's not a Georgia fan. He's an Alabama fan. And he just said he's been watching the channel for 3 or 4 years, and he really enjoys it, and he wanted to do something to help me out, and he thought this would be some stuff I could use. And it just I mean maybe you guys have had people do stuff like that for you before, and if you have, you know the feeling. But I just couldn't believe that somebody would do that. And so Doc, if you're watching, again, thank you, sir. I honestly cannot believe you did that, and I'll never be able to thank you enough. And Uncle Lou's going to take care of you, sir. So you'll be getting some stuff coming back your way too. So thank you. All right. Now that we got that out of the way, let me give you my thoughts here on college scheduling and the worst regular season, and then we'll start taking some phone calls here, okay? College scheduling. I've got, I don't even know how many comments I've got over the last month or so about Alabama's schedule for 2019. Playing Duke. Then they have their 8 SEC games, right? And then 3 teams you've never heard of, 3 nobodies. And people are complaining about it. Now, my thought process on scheduling really hasn't changed since the playoffs started. So if you've heard me say this before, then this won't be a surprise to you. But there's no point in scheduling these big non-conference games for Alabama. There's not. There's very few teams who could benefit from scheduling a big non-con game. If I could make Georgia's schedule, we would play our 8 SEC games, and then we'd play 4 teams nobody's ever heard of. That's what we would do. Now, as purely as a college football fan who just likes watching good football games, yeah, Georgia, Notre Dame. I'd love to see Alabama and Ohio State. I'd love to see Clemson and Oklahoma. I love these games, these big games in the regular season as purely a fan. But as a fan of Georgia, if your goal is to make it to the college football playoff, you need less landmines, not more. Not more. And people always make the argument, well, you need strength of schedule. No one has ever not gotten into the playoff. No Power 5 team has ever not gotten into the playoff because their schedule wasn't strong enough. And it will never happen. It will never happen. If you go 12-0 in the Power 5 and win your conference, you're getting in. If you go 11-1 in the Power 5 and win your conference, you're almost definitely getting in. The only exception would be is if you lose your conference championship game, right? Go 12-0, lose the conference championship game, probably not going to get in. The reverse, though, has happened multiple times where a team scheduling one of these big non-con games has hurt them. Look at Ohio State in 2017. Ohio State lost to Oklahoma in the regular season. Now, they had another loss, too, to Iowa, right? Ohio State would have got in had it not been for that loss to Oklahoma. If they'd have scheduled Akron instead of Oklahoma, Ohio State would have gotten the playoffs in 2017, but they didn't. So as far as watching good games on TV, I get it. You want to schedule these big non-con games and you want to watch them, I get it. But as far as watching your team and wanting them to get to the playoffs, you need less landmines as possible. So I don't care that Alabama's playing Duke and 3 teams you never heard of. We went through this last year. All year, Clemson hadn't played anybody. That's all I heard. We turned it into a joke on this channel with the Who Have Georgia Played thing. But I heard it all year long about every team. I heard it, Alabama, wait till Alabama plays somebody. Alabama ain't played nobody. Georgia ain't played nobody. Clemson ain't played nobody. Notre Dame's not in the conference. They ain't played nobody. Oklahoma's in the Big 12. They ain't played nobody. West Virginia ain't played nobody. Texas ain't played nobody. Michigan ain't played nobody. I mean, everybody says that everybody ain't played nobody. And it doesn't matter. And I don't think. So anyway, enough about that. You can tell me why I'm wrong when you call in if you want to. Worst regular season. It's got to be either basketball or baseball, doesn't it? Take your pick. NBA, basketball, college basketball regular season is completely pointless. College basketball season means less than the NBA. How many teams get into the NCAA tournament now? 68 or something? College basketball regular season means absolutely nothing. On top of that, you can go 0-30 in the regular season. How many games you play? 0-25, 0-30 in the regular season. And if you somehow get lucky and win 5 games in a row in your conference tournament, guess what? You're going to the NCAA tournament. So you could be you could go 0-25, get hot in your conference tournament, win it, be sitting there at 5-25 and get into the NCAA tournament. The college basketball regular season means absolutely nothing. Major League Baseball regular season. Geez, do they play 800 games a year? They start playing like at the end of March, beginning April, and they don't quit till October, November? I mean, it's ridiculous. They play 162 regular season, 162. If it takes 162 games to figure out who the best 2 teams are, that's not including the playoffs. How many playoff games? 1 or 2 rounds and into World Series. So really, you got these teams playing about 175 games to figure out who the best team is? That's way too many. Now, you have to take what I say about baseball with a grain of salt because I can't stand it. It's boring to me. I played it when I was a kid and I loved playing it. But as far as watching it on TV, the last time I watched baseball on TV, there's 2 times I can remember in the last 20 years probably that I've watched baseball on TV. That was the home run chase back 15 or so years ago when everybody was juiced up. And you had Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa and Barry Bonds all juiced up. Their heads were all swole up like this. From all the steroids they were on, and they were hitting 50 and 60 home runs or whatever. I watched some of it then because it was exciting to me. And then when the Cubs won the World Series a few years back, I watched, I think, the last 2 games of that World Series because I thought it would be cool to see the Cubs win the World Series for the first time since World War I. And other than that, you'd have to go back till probably the mid-'90s to early '90s where I watched, but when the Braves first went on their run, back when they had Ron Gant and Dave Justice and Tom Glavine and Steve Avery and Greg Maddux and these, I can go back further if you want. Claudel Washington, I have a Ken Oberkfell, Rafael Ramirez, Glenn Hubbard, Mark Lemke, Otis Nixon. You might have seen Otis Nixon. Why does it seem like every 3 months there's a missing persons report put out in Atlanta for Otis Nixon? I don't know. But anyway, so that's my opinion on that. And and let's not forget Tennessee #1 in basketball. Go Vols. Top of the mountain. January Madness champions, Tennessee. Yeah. So congratulations for that, and also in 2. If you want to call and breathe heavy in the phone or argue with me, the number is 706-510-6817, and we'll see what you people have to say today. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou, though. Yep. Well, you got to be ready to go. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou, though.
Hey, I was just calling. I want to get your opinion on the NCAA football about how with the SEC and the ACC only play 8 conference games. Do you think that really matters at all until who gets into the playoffs, or do you?
No.
Think it doesn't matter? And would you like to go to 9 games for Georgia, or what?
Well, what would be the point? The Pac-12 plays 9 conference games. How they done in the playoffs the last few years?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Kind of.
My goal. Listen, you have to. You have to, whether we like the playoff system or not, whether we want to see certain changes made or not, you have to look at the way it's set up right now. And the way it's set up right now is that teams with the least number of losses are getting into the playoff. It's got nothing to do with who's the best team. It's got nothing to do with how many conference games people play. It's got nothing to do with out-of-conference scheduling, regardless of what they tell you. It's going to be the teams with the least amount of losses. And the way to do that is to play the least amount of conference games you can and schedule cupcakes as many as you can. It's boring to watch, but in terms of getting to the playoffs, it seems like that's the easiest way to do it. So I don't think the SEC will increase to 9 conference games unless they're forced to some kind of way.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of these teams like Alabama or Clemson, they wouldn't be derailed by 1 extra conference game, especially like Clemson, where
right.
Them playing Duke, it's an extra game. It's not going to hurt them. But my thing for Georgia is that I kind of would like to be able to rotate through the West a little bit faster. I mean, Texas A&M has been in the conference for 6 years, and we're just now playing them. Clemson got to play them before we did recently.
Well, yeah, but the thing with that is it's because of the number of teams, right? So we play Auburn every year. We play 2 teams from the West every year, and there's 7 teams over there. So we're only going to play the other teams once every 6 years. The only way to speed that up would be, like you mentioned in the beginning, if we added a 9th conference game, and now we would play 3 teams from the West every year instead of 2. So we would play Auburn every year, and then we would play 2 others from the West. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, and really I don't see really how anybody could force the SEC to do it. When you can point at Notre Dame and say, well, they play 0 conference games, so why do we have to play 9 instead of 8? And Notre Dame's busy playing 0. So until Notre Dame joins a conference, it would seem kind of hypocritical for the NCAA to try to force a conference to play more conference games when they're letting Notre Dame in playing 0 conference games.
Yeah, one other main thing about it too is I feel like certain teams are more likely to maybe play good out-of-conference games. Like, Clemson always plays like an SEC team, like Auburn or Texas A&M. I don't want them to force an extra ACC game and play Duke instead of Texas A&M. I'd rather see Clemson play Texas A&M.
Yeah. The other thing,
the extra ACC games.
Yeah. The other thing to keep in mind is that a lot of times these games are scheduled. Like I give you an example. We have Clemson on the schedule right now 3 times in the next 10 years. We have them once in a kickoff classic game. And then we have a home and home with them. Yep. Okay, so forget the kickoff classic game for a minute, but the home and home with Clemson is in 2028 and 2029. Okay, Clemson could be in the toilet then. Yeah. Georgia could be in the toilet then. A lot of these games are scheduled. A lot of these games are scheduled so far out that it's hard to tell. Look, when Alabama scheduled Florida State to open the season 2 years ago, Florida State was coming off of a national championship, so that looked like a good game. Yeah. It's not Alabama's fault that Florida State fell in the toilet the year that they played. Georgia had North Carolina week 1 a few years back, Kirby's first year. When we scheduled that game, it looked like a cupcake game. Well, then North Carolina won their division the year before that and almost beat Clemson in the ACC championship game and really should have beat Clemson. They recovered an onside kick in that game, North Carolina did, and the referees called offsides, and it was not offsides. It should have been North Carolina's ball on about the 40-yard line with a chance to win that game. But anyway, that doesn't matter. But the point is, you schedule these games so far out that they might be good when you schedule them and then terrible by the time you play them, or they might be terrible when you schedule them and good by the time you play them. You never really know. So I try not to bash. Like, I don't know when Alabama, like, obviously Duke's never really been great, so that's kind of a bad example for Alabama. But, I mean, Alabama has started off the season with, what, Virginia Tech one year. Didn't they play West Virginia one year? I think they played, didn't Nick Saban go to Penn State and play in Happy Valley? I'm pretty sure he did.
I know they played a neutral site against both Michigan and Wisconsin, I believe.
Right. And so, you know, Georgia's got no, like, okay, 2 years ago, Georgia had the 8 SEC games. We played at Notre Dame, and we played Georgia Tech. That's 10 Power 5 games. And then we had 2 games against teams you never heard of. Last year, not so good. We had Georgia Tech, but then we had 3 teams you never heard of. But in this year, we're back to having 10 Power 5 games. I mean, we play 8 SEC teams, Georgia Tech and Notre Dame, and then 2 teams we never heard of. Am I worried about the Notre Dame game? Not really. I mean, is Notre Dame terrible? No. Are they going to beat UJ? No. But there's no benefit in Georgia to scheduling that game. None. It just doesn't. It's purely for entertainment value. There's no benefit in terms of making the playoffs or anything for Georgia to play Notre Dame the 4th week of the season. There's just not.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, my main thing about maybe going to non-conference games is just because I like to play, more opponents from the other side. I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
But I could also see the backlash. I could also see that also being like a bad thing if you draw just a bunch of terrible teams from the other side. But that's all I had.
Okay.
Call and talk to you about. I'll see you later.
Thank you for the call. I appreciate it. Yeah, listen, as a college football fan, I'd love to see Alabama schedule big non-conference games every year while Georgia plays 4 nobodies. I mean, that would be, and not just, these other teams want to schedule these big non-conference games. That's great, because I love watching college football, and I would love to watch those games. But in terms of wanting my team to make the playoffs, I want the least amount of road bumps possible. Good morning, and you're on with Uncle Lou, though.
What's going on, man? I don't know if this is a weird experience, but my first time riding a bike was my first time having sex. My dad was holding me from behind.
706-510-6817 is the number if you want to be on the show. And I'm whoever's calling right now, I don't answer. If it's an unknown number, I'm not answering it because I can't block an unknown number when you call up and scream the N-word. So you have to dial. You have to dial from a regular number. 20 Savage, thank you for the super chat and the donation, sir. WNBA or soccer has worst regular season? I would disagree with you on soccer. Well, it depends on what league you're talking about. I don't know. Maybe if you're talking about MLS, maybe you have a point. But like those European league soccer regular seasons, those things matter because they have different divisions over there in soccer. And if you finish like last in your division, you get demoted the next year to a lower league. Like the entire team just gets kicked out of the league to a lower league is the way it works over there. So sometimes that makes even the games at the end of the season involving terrible teams, it makes them interesting because a team, it could be a situation where a team has to win their last game to stay in that league for the following year. Imagine if the Power 5 worked that way, right? What if the Power 5 and the Group of 5 worked that way, right? Okay, so Central Florida goes undefeated as a Group of 5, right? Well, they get promoted next year to Power 5, and they get to take the place of one of the Power 5 teams. So let's use Tennessee as an example since we've been bragging about their basketball team. Tennessee went 0-8 in the SEC in 2017. Central Florida went 12-0 in the regular season in 2017. Tennessee now gets kicked out of the SEC for the next season and has to play in UCF's conference, and UCF now comes up and plays in Tennessee's spot. That's how European soccer leagues work. Wouldn't that be something if they booted Tennessee out of the SEC? That's never going to happen. Never going to happen. We keep Tennessee in the SEC to prop up the SEC's basketball standing. 706-510-6817 is the number if you want to be on the show. What did y'all think about General Voltard today? It's pretty excited, ain't he? What's going on in the comment section? Thanos, the Slayer of Thoughts. Jesus Christ, y'all come up with some names, don't you? Yeah, you do. Ray 7337 already knows his season is ending in week 4. Good morning, sir. Uncle Monkey Cheeks, Squid Tar, J.H. Starn, David, Moti, VFL, Cajun Flicks 1 Movies. Good morning, David, JC69. Yep. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou, though.
Uncle Lou, how you been, brother? It's been a really long time since I've been on the show.
Yeah, I'm doing great. How are you doing, though?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good.
Okay,
you
good.
Know, as an Auburn fan, this year was, like, extremely disappointing. Like, beyond any measurable amount of measurability that the season sucked. But do you think that Auburn's win over Washington cements that the Pac-12 is probably the worst Power 5 conference?
Yeah. Yes, I do think. I do think the Pac-12 was the worst conference. Now let me say this: the ACC was terrible, like epically bad. But they had the best team in America, and that has to count for something. So I would put the Pac-12 above the ACC. I would put the ACC fourth, though. I think the ACC was horrible this year.
All right. Do you think Michigan is going to be good again next year? Because every Michigan fan that I know is saying, "Oh, we're going to go undefeated again. Oh, we're going to go undefeated again."
Yeah,
I don't really agree with that.
I haven't started to really break down the teams for next year yet in terms of who teams are losing and recruiting classes, and I haven't looked at team schedules and things like that. But my initial thoughts on Michigan is that this should have been their year. 2018, they could have beat Notre Dame. And they should have beat Ohio. I know they got blown out against Ohio State, but Michigan was a better team than Ohio State for 6 or 7 weeks in a row leading up to that Ohio State game. And then I don't know if it's a mental thing at this point, a mental block. I don't know if Harbaugh's just – I don't know. I question if Michigan can overcome the way their season ended, getting blown out in their biggest game of the year with everything on the line. I mean, Michigan was looking at making a play. Michigan went from being basically 2 games away from the playoffs to losing their last 2 games. I don't know if they can overcome that. I'll have to look at their team and all that for next year, but I doubt I will. I was really high on Michigan heading into this season. I doubt I will be that high on them next season.
All right, Uncle Lou. Now, as an Auburn fan, as I stated previously, we know Gus Malzahn is bad certain years. He's a weird coach. He's good some years when there's no expectations placed on the program, and when there is, say this year, he can start really hot and then completely fuck up everything.
Right.
A lot of Auburn fans are saying that if Bo Nix or Joey Gatewood turns out to be as good as everybody says they will be, that Auburn potentially has a shot to go 11-1, 12-0. And I find it quite absurd that they'd actually say that. With the talent we had last year, how do you expect for us to be better this year when we lose so much talent? I get it. Derek Brown, Nick Coe, Marla Davidson. Our safeties are coming back. Our offensive line's coming back. I get that. But it's a young quarterback and a coach who has a lot riding on this season.
I agree with a lot of what you're saying. And here's the thing with Auburn and their quarterbacks. unfortunately, it's become like the boy that cried wolf with Auburn. I mean, it seems like every year since Cam Newton won the Heisman, every single Auburn quarterback after that is fixing to be the greatest quarterback of all time and go 15-0 and win the Heisman, and none of them really have turned out to be any good at all. Jared Stidbaloney looked worse this year than he looked last year to me. And I don't need to go through the list of quarterbacks you had before that are now selling used Pontiacs somewhere. John Franklin III, Jeremy Johnson. I mean, all these people were going 15-0 and winning the Heisman. I know Bo Nix and these people are highly rated recruits and all that. Gus Malzahn has never had any success at all with a quarterback that he recruited out of high school. None. The only times Gus Malzahn, going back to when he was an offensive coordinator even, the only times Gus Malzahn has had any success at Auburn at all is with transfer quarterbacks that had already proved themselves somewhere else. Cam Newton, Nick Marshall, and Jared Stidbaloney. Those have been the three best quarterbacks Gus Malzahn has had. He didn't sign any of them out of high school. So I have serious question marks about Auburn's quarterback situation heading into next year. I have questions about their running back situation, have questions about their wide receivers, and you already mentioned some of the players they're losing on defense. And the biggest question mark of all, Gus Malzahn. So the administration doesn't like him. Half the fans don't like him. From what I hear, half the team doesn't like him. You know, if they lose 2 or 3 games in the first couple months of the season next year, it could be a historically bad season for Auburn, and Gus Malzahn could be out of a job before Thanksgiving.
All right, Uncle Lou. Thanks for having me on the show.
All right, thank you. Right. Yep. Sorry to rain on your parade, but I'm not very high on Auburn for next year. For a lot of the reasons I just mentioned. And 2.
I'm gonna snort some cayenne pepper up my nose.
But yeah, 706-510-6817 is the number. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou, though. Yep.
Hey, Uncle Lou, it's McD Sports 4.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, 3 quick things. You were just talking about that caller from Auburn. How many losses do you think Auburn's going to have next year?
How many what?
How many losses do you think that barn's going to be by January?
I can't understand what you're saying. How many what?
How many losses will Auburn have? My joke with Auburn is that every time they lose, it's a fire alarm because every time they lose, the barn fire just gets bigger and bigger. So
yeah, I haven't looked at any schedules or anything for next year to try to give like a number of losses that they would have, but off the top of my head, teams that I know they play that I think are better than them next year: Texas A&M, LSU, Alabama, Georgia. I would be surprised. And this is off the top of my head, so I reserve the right to change this when I actually start looking at these teams over the summer to do my previews. But off the top of my head, I think LSU, Texas A&M, Alabama, and Georgia are definitely better than Auburn next year. I don't know who else Auburn plays from the East, but I know they lost to Tennessee last year. So who do they play from the East? Florida. That's a loss. That's a loss. They'll lose that game. That's 5 losses. I mean, off the top of my head right now, I would say Auburn would be lucky to make a bowl game next year. But again, I'm not. These aren't official predictions. This is just off the top. I do in-depth predictions starting in like June probably this year. I didn't start till July last year, and then I ran out of time, so I'll probably start in June this year with the predictions, where I really get into it and look at the teams and who they play and where they play and recruiting classes and what players left and transfers and all this kind of stuff, and I'll come up with my official predictions. But like LSU, Texas A&M, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, I think are all in better shape than Auburn right now.
One thing me and my friends been debating: would you consider BYU a Group of 5 team or a Power 5 team?
BYU?
Yeah, because they're independent. Me and my friends been debating. Like
yeah.
Some of my friends think it's a Power 5.
Well, first of all, I hate BYU. It's 2019, and the sooner they realize that, the better off they'll be with some of the backwards crap that they do out there. 3 of the 5 conferences, though, 3 of the 5 Power 5 conferences do consider BYU a Power 5 team. The SEC doesn't, but they are recognized as a Power 5 team. But like some of these conferences have rules where you have to play 10 Power 5 teams. Like I think the Pac-12 is one. And so the Pac-12 plays 9 conference games, but you have to play 10 Power 5. And the Pac-12 allows their teams to schedule BYU, and they consider that a Power 5 game. I believe the Big 12 is the same way, and I think it's the ACC that does that too, and the SEC and Big 10 do not. So 3 of the 5 consider them Power 5. I guess they're a Power 5 conference, but like I said, it really doesn't matter. These people are stuck in the 1800s there. They're never going to do anything of meaning or relevance in the 21st century until they get their head out of the sand and turn about 200 pages forward.
Yeah. And worst regular season, I have to go with the NBA season, probably. No one cares if 8 teams in the East, 8 teams in the West. You can go 500 and make the playoffs. So I'll probably say NBA season is the worst regular season.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you go, Uncle Lou. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, thanks for calling in. I appreciate it. Have a good one. I'd agree with you about the NBA. Now, sometimes that wasn't always the case with the NBA, and I think right now the NBA is so top-heavy with a couple of teams that it just takes all the excitement out of the regular season. You pretty much know who's meeting in the finals. Oh, here we go. How mad are you, man? I mean, you can't. Nothing I said isn't true, sir.
Uncle Lou, are you mentally okay?
Are you, sir? Are you? Do you really think? Okay, let's start with the obvious. Let's start. This is Ultimate Troll, by the way, people, Auburn fan. So let's start with the obvious. Okay, do you think? Was I wrong about? Do you think Auburn will be favored against Alabama next year? Okay. No, you'll get your chance in a minute. You'll get your chance in a minute, but this is called the Uncle Lou Show, not the Ultimate Troll Show. Do you think Auburn will be favored against Georgia?
No.
Okay. Do you think they'll be favored against Florida?
Maybe.
Texas A&M?
Yes.
LSU?
No.
Okay, so I'm not crazy. You agree with me on 4 out of the 5, so I'm not crazy.
I'm not saying you're crazy. I'm saying you just said a minute ago that we may not make a bowl game. Come on. Come on, Uncle Lou. Seriously. I understand that we didn't have a great year last year. We lost to Tennessee and all this crap. But come on, wake up. We just had 3 defensive linemen of this elite defensive line from last year come back. That's huge. You have no idea how big that is. We had 2 safeties. One of the guys had like 87 tackles this year. He's coming back for his senior year. We have Owen Papo coming in, who's going to make an instant impact. I know 5 stars could be bust. Owen Papo will not be a bust.
I like Papo. I agree with you. Papo's an elite player. You're not gonna. I'm not one of these people. Georgia wanted him. I'm not. You guys. You know that. I'm not one of these people that just because Georgia didn't get him, now all of a sudden he's no good. Papo's an elite prospect for sure. So I agree with you there.
What I'm saying is Auburn's defense will, if not, it will be the same, if not better than it was this year. It did take a step back this year, and I think that's because we lost a lot in the secondary, but our secondary will be experienced, and our entire defensive line basically is coming back. The only guy we lost was a guy that wasn't even going to get drafted, so that's not even that big of a deal. So, basically our entire defense is coming back for 2 linebackers. Now onto our offense. I heard you say something about our receivers. We lost 2 receivers. One was a senior, Ryan Davis, and then Darius Slayton declared for the draft, which was unexpected. But do you remember Eli Stove and Will Hastings? They both tore their ACLs in the offseason.
Barely.
They're going to be back. And they were good They were good. They were average to good wide receivers in 2017, both of them. And on top of them, we have Pickens. We have, what's his name? Canelo. We have I think our wide receivers are one of the top groups in the SEC, even with losing Slayton and Davis.
Are they going to throw it to themselves?
This year, let me get on to that. So, next thing, our entire offensive line is returning. If you watch at the end of the year, our offensive line did look a lot better than it did at the beginning of the year. It started to gel right at the end of the year. I'm not talking about the Purdue game, even in the Georgia and Alabama game. they were giving Stidham plenty of time. Stidham just, Stidham is ass. So, our offensive line, I'm not saying they're going to be good. I'm still kind of questioning them because they played so bad last year, but I expect some improvement in that area. The question next, running back is not going to be a question last year either. Remember last year when you told me, you're only going to have one running back and you're going to run him into the ground. That's what you're going to do, Ultimate Troll. Well, that's not what we did it, is it? We rotated running backs for the first time under Gus Manzanares, and it didn't go great, but it didn't go bad either. You saw what we had. I told you at the beginning of the year. Whitlow, Shivers, Cam Martin, they're all going to split carries. What did they do? They all split carries, and each one of them had, I think, 400 or more yards each, and Whitlow had almost 1,000. So we split carries pretty evenly. No, we don't just have one running back. Quarterback is going to be the big question next year. Yes, I know, but the thing with Stidham was not a quarterback built for the Auburn offense. I don't think he was. Gus Malzahn likes those running around quarterbacks, and Stidham had mobility to some degree. But no, Stidham was not Nick Marshall, Cam Newton, Jeremy Johnson, any of these quarterbacks that can run around. Stidham, last year, I think Stidham, I don't know what happened to him, but he played a lot worse. Like, he couldn't run, and he couldn't throw last year. So everything just went to hell. This year, though, I'm not saying we're going to have an elite quarterback. I don't think we're winning the Heisman. I'm not one of those fans. I don't know.
I'm going to snort some cayenne pepper up my nose.
I don't even hear that. I don't know where you guys keep getting that from. But I think Bo Nix, it's going to be between Bo Nix and Malik Willis. And both of those quarterbacks are good runners. I think Bo Nix will win. I don't know if you watched any Bo Nix tape, but come on, that man looks really good. He's not like any of the other quarterbacks Malzahn has recruited. I mean, he's a true dual threat quarterback.
Like Jeremy Johnson and John Franklin III.
No. Have you watched Bo Nix's tape? Are you serious?
Sir, do I need to show you Jeremy Johnson's high school tape or John Franklin's high school tape? I can show you, name any high school player that's ever played, and I can show you a high school tape where he looks good.
Dude, are you serious?
Yeah.
Bo Nix just won Mr. Alabama football over to his brother, who's a 5-star recruit. Bo Nix just won that. Bo Nix is one completed pass away from being a 5-star. Jeremy Johnson was a rare case. We don't have Jeremy Johnson. I don't know where you keep bringing up John Franklin either. He was a transfer from East Mississippi Community College, and we played him in like 3 games. We barely played him. He never really did anything. So I don't know where you keep getting these bad from. We just never really tried him. In 2016, we rotated quarterbacks for the first few games, and then just went with Sean White, who, by the way, I brought this up last year too, had a higher completion percentage than Jake Fromm in his first year before he got injured and broke his arm. So, Sean White was a decent quarterback. He wasn't really built for the Auburn offense, so he could not run around. And so, he ended up he got kicked off the team because Stidham beat him out, and he got mad. But, I don't quite understand where you're getting. We won't make a bowl game. You understand we beat Texas A&M last year?
I didn't say you won't make a bowl game. I didn't say you wouldn't make a bowl game.
You said I would be surprised if Auburn made a bowl game.
No, I said you'd be struggling for bowl eligibility. To me, that means 5, 6, or 7 wins. That's what you're looking at.
I promise you, we will beat Arkansas. We will beat Ole Miss. Mississippi State was a disappointment this year. You can't tell me they weren't. I mean, they had tons of talent. Joe Moorhead gave them 8 wins this year. I mean, that's not very good for Mississippi State considering what they had this year. I think they're on the way down. Mississippi State, I think, is a win because we have them at home. Arkansas is a win. Ole Miss is a win. I think Texas A&M is a win. I think where do we play LSU? LSU, I don't think we're going to beat LSU just because it's on the road. But who knows? We could.
Texas A&M is going to skull drag you.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Like they did last year?
No.
What?
No, like they're going to do this year.
Where? Oh, like in Texas A&M where they've never beat Auburn? Ever? Not once they've beat us in Texas A&M?
They're going to beat you blind.
Yeah, they're going to beat us blind just like, what team did you say was going to beat us blind last year? Or the year before that?
Georgia.
And then we ended up
Georgia. Yeah, I said Georgia.
Georgia did not. The game was Are you kidding? The game was 7 points in the fourth quarter. Wake up, Uncle Lou. Get off the medical Viagra or whatever the hell you're taking, and wake up for a little bit. Smell the roses, Uncle Lou. Wake up. Use your brain. Auburn has more talent than most teams in the SEC. Georgia and Alabama are the only teams that have more, and LSU and Auburn are pretty damn equal.
Texas A&M has more talent than you.
I don't know. Texas A&M does not have more talent than us. Wait, they may in the future.
You better check some recruiting rankings. Texas A&M is going to beat you, and it's not going to be. Listen, Texas A&M is a top 10 team, sir. Auburn is not. So Texas A&M. Texas A&M will be a top 10 team next year. Deal with it. Texas A&M is the second best team in the West.
If they're beating Auburn, they're beating Georgia, because you have to play them at Texas A&M, don't you?
No.
Well, you're still gonna lose to them.
No.
If that's the logic, how come they're gonna be? Okay, explain to me why you won't lose to Texas A&M.
Because we're better than you, sir. Georgia is a better team than Auburn. I mean, this isn't breaking news. This isn't even fake news or alternative facts. I mean, this is just the reality that we're in today, sir. Georgia is a better team than you right now. So.
I didn't say Auburn. I said, how do you know Georgia's not going to lose to Texas A&M if they're a top 10 team?
We get them in Athens. Georgia's a top 10 team too.
You know A&M's a very good team on the road. They suck at home. They're a road team.
Now, a minute ago, Texas A&M was no good when I was talking about Auburn beating them. Now all of a sudden, Texas A&M can't be beat.
No, I'm saying Texas A&M is very hard to beat when they're playing on the road.
I'm gonna snort some cayenne pepper up my nose.
They were playing at home. They lost like 6. They haven't won. There was a point at which they didn't win like 6 SEC games in a row at home. They haven't done it since like they showed a graphic that said they didn't do it since like 2016 until they played like Arkansas or somebody. But guess who? They win a lot on the road, and guess where Auburn plays them next year? At home, where they suck. Texas A&M has no home field advantage, and Auburn always beats Texas A&M on the road. But guess where they have to play? In Athens. Oh, by the way, question. You sure about that UGA professor saying all whites should die? Yeah, UGA.
How many games Texas A&M lose last year?
I don't know. Would they go 8-5?
They lost 4 games.
Okay. Guess who one of those was too? Auburn.
On the road, sir. They lost 3 of their 4 games on the road. So please continue to tell me how great of a road team they are. Please, I'm listening. Out of their 4 losses, 3 of them were on the road. I'm listening, sir.
If you knew anything about Auburn football, the Auburn versus Texas A&M rivalry.
No. You said Texas A&M was a dominant team on the road, that they never lose on the road.
They normally are. They
sir, 75% of their losses last year were on the road, sir.
And most of them were also Uncle Lou. They won like 2 SEC games at home last year. Listen to what I'm telling you for a second. Since 2013, when we started playing Texas A&M regularly, Auburn and Texas A&M have never won against each other at home. In 2013, we
dominant road team. Yeah, dominant road team. Texas A&M gave up the biggest lead in sporting history on the road at UCLA in 2017. Sir, everything you say is slightly more retarded than the thing you said before. So it's time to end that call, sir. Once you start guessing and making stuff up, that's the end of the call. We can talk logically and argue and debate, but when you just start making stuff up, it's time to move on. It's past your bedtime anyway. It's a school night, for Christ's sake. (706-510-6817) if you want to call up and explain to me how a dominant road team gets 75% of its losses on the road. I will be willing to listen. If anything, Texas A&M was a dominant home team. The only home game Texas A&M lost last year was week 2 to Clemson. And Clemson, and look at that game. Texas A&M almost beat them at home. So they're a dominant home team, sir, not a dominant road team. So not only were you wrong, you couldn't possibly have been more wrong. So Shane Bentley, good morning, sir. Thank you for the super chat, the donation. This Auburn fan is slightly perturbed. Reminds me of my favorite South Carolina fan in two.
I'm just a little bit perturbed.
Yeah. Hey, NCAA football stream starting up 2 weeks from today. I know you guys are excited about that. Yeah, we're going to get through this week, and we're going to get through next week, which will take us to the Super Bowl. And then the Tuesday after the Super Bowl, we're going to start the NCAA football streams on the Xbox. We'll do that every Tuesday and Thursday night. I think I'm going to take phone calls, too. I think what I'm going to do, especially with the worst of the worst playoffs that we got set up, I'm going to simulate the games, right? So we'll just watch the game. We'll just simulate the game. We'll all watch it together. And I'll take phone calls while we watch the game, I guess, is the way we'll do that. So that way we still get the phone calls in, but we still get to do the worst of the worst playoffs, which, of course, we need to come up with the seeding for the playoffs. Of course, the teams we have are Rutgers, Kansas, right? Rutgers, Kansas, Arkansas, and is it Oregon State? I know it's Rutgers, Kansas, Arkansas. And I believe the fourth one is Oregon State. Louisville is pretty bad. You're right. There's honorable mention. Am I going to talk about the Shrine game? No, it's a glorified scrimmage. It's an NFL tryout. It's not even a real game. No, I'm not going to talk about that. I'll tell you what pisses me off about the Shrine game, if you really want to know, and I'll tell you. There are a handful of players, and I was this close to making a video, but people just get so pissed off when you're mean to players. Don't be mean to these kids, woo. There was a handful of players that were too important to show up and play in their team's bowl game, but then showed up and played in the Shrine Bowl. That pisses Uncle Lou off. That pissed me right off. Will Greer. 20 Savage, thank you for the super chat and the donation, sir. Who is your American of Alliance team? I don't even know what that means. So you don't have to send another super chat. Maybe you can tell me in the regular comments what that means. Who is your, which you spelled it like the abbreviation for UR. So it's who is UR American of Alliance team. I don't know what that. I'm sorry, Savage. I just don't know what that means. I'm sure that's a me problem. But I have no clue what that means, though, or two. Who is your American of Alliance? I just don't know what that means. The new football team? What is it? The new football league is called the American of Alliance? It just doesn't make any sense, but okay. I have a bunch of questions about the Cardinals for next season, Nader, the creator. Mainly, the Cardinals are not going to draft Kyler Murray, are they? I know what that nitwit said. What's his name? The coach, or is it the coach or whoever that like a year ago said, I'd draft Kyler Murray. Now he's the head coach of Arizona. They just got Josh Rosen. Listen, Kyler Murray is not going to make it in the NFL. Please tell me Arizona's not going to turn into the Cleveland Browns, drafting these terrible quarterbacks every other year in the NFL draft. Please tell me that's not going to happen to the Arizona Cardinals. Maybe it is. I see all y'all talking about that new football league, and listen, I'll pay attention to it in the beginning. If it's terrible football, I'm not going to watch it, okay? If it's like the XFL where these people don't know what the hell they're doing, I'm not going to watch it for very long. If there's some games on at night, I'll put it on the TV out here while we stream or whatever if it ends up being interesting. I guess it would be I guess I'm interested in seeing Aaron Murray play, but I'll have to see what the level of football actually looks like. Hugh Jackson for your offensive coordinator? Wouldn't be the worst hire, I guess. Is UGA losing Coley? I don't think so. I know there's some NFL teams have some interest in him, but I think we'll probably end up hanging on to him. Uncle Flu, good morning. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what Kirby's waiting on for the DC thing. We'll see. We will see. Georgia took your DB coach so y'all could go out and get a better one. That's what Florida fan told me. Y'all got, what's his name? I can't remember his name now, but y'all already replaced him. And according to every Florida fan on the internet, he's better than the coach you lost. So you shouldn't be too worried about it, to be honest. You shouldn't be too worried about it. Yep. When did Georgia get to the Final Four? 1983. And 1983 is more recent than never. So, just to remind you. Oh, I love EDP. I think he's hilarious. No, I watch EDP all the time. I've been watching him for years. What do I think Pruitt in Tennessee is going to look like by year 4? That's hard to say. That's hard. You can't judge Pruitt after 1 year. He had a terrible team, and he's never coached before. So he didn't know what he was doing, and he had a team full of players that weren't very talented. So I know, 5 and 7, it's fun to make fun of. And I love to do it, but you can't judge Pruitt off of last year. You got to give him another couple of years. It's too early to say what he might be doing in year 4. It's too early to say he's a terrible coach. It's too early to say he's a good coach. The truth is, no one knows at this point. Nick Saban, Luke, can you do a setup tour? I'd like to see your full setup. Yeah, maybe when I get all this new stuff hooked up, which hopefully will be sometime the next couple of days, I'll do some kind of a tour. I need ideas for videos in the off season, so the off season is definitely the time to do stuff like that, because during the season I don't have time to do stuff like that. But Torian Gray, yeah, that's his name, Gator Rob. Thank you. Yeah, most Florida fans tell me he's better than the guy we got from you, so we'll see. Yeah, I think Miko will get drafted, but I love Miko, but he's really, really small. Lou, did you teach yourself how to edit videos? Yeah, it's just practice, time, and patience. Watched a lot of how-to videos on YouTube, and I'm still learning. The best way to learn how to edit videos is to learn how to basically import a video, do nothing to it, and save it, and then learn one additional thing at a time. That's the best thing to do. If I'm watching a video or a movie or a commercial or something and I see some kind of cool effect or something and I want to know how to do it, then I just go to YouTube and how to and type, and I watch it and figure it out from there. But there's no way to learn all that stuff at once. You just have to kind of start at the beginning and just work your way up. And I've only been using an editing program on a computer for a little over a year. From the time I started on YouTube in 2013 all the way through the end of or almost the end of the 2017 season, I did everything on my cell phone. All the editing, everything. Now I use Adobe Premiere Pro. And I have an actual camera instead of filming with my cell phone. I still use my cell phone for some shots sometimes, but I have a DSLR that I use for most of my videos now. Final Cut Pro. I don't have a Mac. I have a PC, so I use Adobe Premiere. But Final Cut is good too, though. I've used it before, but I like I like Premiere. Once you sort of start using one, it's hard to change because like now I'm familiar with all the shortcuts and the keystrokes and everything that does everything within Adobe Premiere. And so if I were to switch now, it would almost be like starting over again. It's expensive though. I think I pay $25 a month for Adobe Premiere. $25 doesn't sound like a lot, but when you have to pay it every single month, it's a lot of money over the course of a year for an editing program. But I write it off on my taxes. What type of animations you talking about, Squid Tard? Yeah, Duke's going to get destroyed, and they're losing their quarterback. They're losing him. He was their best player. He'll get drafted in the first round. He's gone, so they're breaking in a new quarterback against a pissed-off Alabama and a Nick Saban defense. Not good for Duke. At the beginning with all the cool effects, you would have to I think you have my phone number even. Maybe send me the link, Squidtard, to a video that you're talking about and like and a specific like how did you do this or whatever. I know you can get Adobe Premiere free through illegal downloads and stuff like that, but because I mean I rely on Adobe Premiere to earn a living, and so I can't afford for it to crash or for certain parts not to work, and so I just pay the $25. I get every update the minute it comes out. I get every patch the minute it comes out. I get the newest version the second it comes out. You know, I get customer support if there's an issue, and I just write it off on my taxes anyway. So it's worth it for me to just pay the 25 or whatever it is. Maybe it's 20. It's 20 or 25 or 30. It's between 20 and 30. Yeah, that Hokey Pokey video was fun to do. Now, those videos are a lot of work, and they take a lot of time to film and edit because obviously that every character in that video is me. So, like, I have to film me jumping around, and then I have to change clothes, like into the General Valtard outfit, and then I have to come out and jump around with him, and then I have to change into the Alabama 90 Proofer Luther outfit, and then come around and jump around with him. So I end up having, you know, 6 or 7 different video clips that I have to import into the thing, and then I have to line them all up, and so that kind of stuff takes a lot of work. Do I miss Fields? Well, I mean, I don't really miss him because he didn't do much for us, but I hate that we lost him. I mean, I think he's a great player. I think he's going to be really, really good. Am I going to watch the Targaryen playoffs on Saturday? I will try. The thing with me on Saturdays during the off season is you guys have to realize I have a wife and 2 kids, and from August until December, the end of December, every single Saturday I get up at 6 or 7 in the morning. I come out here, and I'm out here till 1 or 2 in the morning. I mean, I'm literally out here all day on Saturdays from August to December. So when it's the off season, I try to spend time with them. But with that being said, if I'm sitting in the living room where there's nothing going on and I pull up my phone and you're streaming, yes, I will definitely watch it. Yeah, this is live, Celine Driver. Mac Edge, I agree with you. I just don't think Justin Fields was a good fit at Georgia for a variety of reasons. One of them being the offense that we run. The other one being the offensive coaches that we have. I don't think they knew what to do with Justin Fields. And regardless of what anybody thinks about Ohio State, if you've watched them play any over the last 3 or 4 years, they obviously know what to do with an athletic quarterback. So I think he'll thrive there. My concern if I'm Ohio State is what happens if Justin Fields doesn't get cleared to play. Now, I think he will get cleared. I think the waiver will get approved, and I think he will be able to play this year. But if he doesn't, Ohio State's in a bad spot at quarterback this year. Is Jalen Hurts telling somebody that they can't pass? Wow. What do I think about the UGF Pandas? I don't know anything. I don't know what that is. I don't know anything about it. What's my concern for UGA? My concern for UGA next year, wide receivers and depth at running back. I want to see our defensive line improve, interior, and I want to see our inside linebackers improve, and I'd like the pass rush to improve overall. I think Georgia's pass rush may be the single most improved aspect of Georgia's game next year on either side of the ball. I really like what we have coming back on the outside with Adam Anderson. I like some of the young guys that we're getting. I think Georgia's pass rush will be a lot better next year than what we saw this year. There is no video, Celine Driver. I already did the hour-long live show, and so I'm just hanging out with y'all in the comments section. But in case you missed me, good morning, and also too.
I'm going to snort some cayenne pepper up my nose.
Uncle Monkey Cheek says Lou is a virgin. Yes. Yes. I have 2 kids, sort of like Mary and Joseph, same thing. Immaculate reception. Or conception, even. No, NCIS, no more 5-star transfers this season. Maybe next season, we'll see. Yeah, Tommy Bush was great in high school. Kyrus Jackson was great in high school. Matt Landers was great in high school. Blaylock, great in high school. We're loaded with players who we're loaded with wide receivers who were great in high school. The problem is none of them have ever done anything in college, right? The only wide receiver we have coming back that's ever caught a meaningful pass is Jeremiah Holloman. That's it. Every other receiver we play next year is going to be brand new. What's the strength and weaknesses of Tennessee? It's hard to find a lot of strengths on Tennessee right now. I'm just being, I'm just being honest. Like Garantano, I like Garantano. He's tough. I think Garantano is. I think anybody that played with Jarrett Garantano would like him as a teammate. I just. To me, he's just limited as a quarterback. And that's nothing against him. You guys know I have a ton of respect for Jarrett Garantano. He's the toughest player I saw this year. I'm not so sure. I'm just not sure talent-wise he has the ability to be an elite-level SEC quarterback. Yeah, D-Rob will play a lot more next year for sure. He'll be Miko's replacement. I don't think Keith Marshall, he was with the Redskins for a while. I don't think he's in the league anymore. My take on transfer portal effects on premium programs. I don't think the portal has any effect at all. I mean, the portal is just a website where players can place their name if they want to transfer, but players have been able to transfer for a long time. I mean, the rules are a little more lax now, and because of the redshirt rules, more people are transferring. But I don't think the portal itself, the portal is just a website. I don't really think that's to blame. How well do I think Carolina will play against Alabama this year? Not very good. I think Carolina's in for a bad year. I'm really high on Jordan Davis, Samuel Westbrook. I really liked him this past year as a freshman. He's huge, and I thought he got better every single game that went by this year. And he was a true freshman. He was kind of raw. He got some valuable experience this past season, and I think he's going to be a really, really good player up the middle for UGA over the next couple of years. I think Georgia will be undefeated headed into the Florida game. I haven't looked at Florida's schedule yet, so I couldn't predict what their record might be. Georgia has Notre Dame, which is a tough game, but we get that at home. I think Georgia probably wins that one. If Georgia runs into any trouble this year, it's going to be from the Florida game after. We have a stretch of games that could be trouble. Florida, Kentucky, Auburn, Texas A&M, and Georgia Tech. Those are 5 of our last 6 games. Florida is losing at LSU. I think that will be a good game. I think Florida right now is probably a better team than LSU, but tough to win there. And that Florida LSU game has been weird the last few years, hadn't it? The team that you thought was better doesn't always win that game. I think Florida's probably a little bit better than LSU right now, but that doesn't necessarily mean Florida will win, right? I think that'll be an interesting game. The Florida-Miami game will be interesting week 1. Florida will be a favorite in that game. I think Florida's the better team, but Miami is going to spend the next 8 months, and I know Florida's going to spend the next 8 months getting ready for that game too, but Miami is an excited program right now with the hire of Manny Diaz, and Miami is similar to Florida. Like when Florida went 4-7 a couple of years ago, Florida had way more talent than like you couldn't look at Florida and say, well, they won 4 games, they're a terrible team. Florida had talent. Things just went sideways that year. Things went bad for Miami this year, but they're a better team than their record indicated. I still think Florida is better than Miami and should win that game. But that's a tricky game if you're Florida, I think. What are the chances of Tennessee beating Alabama? 0. Vodka drinker is your place kicker back. Yeah, This will be Hot Rod's farewell tour this coming year. He's a senior. He'll be back. He could have gone pro after his junior year. He would have been taken in the first round without question. Probably would have been top 5 pick. But he decided to come back. He's a team player, so yeah, he'll be back next year. What cameras do you use? And also, some of these fans don't realize I have USC and Miami on the schedule in the next 3 years. They just need to shut their millennial asses up and watch. I have a Canon, a DSLR. It's a T5i. And I have a couple of different lenses that I use. Hot Rod was definitely robbed of the Lou Groza Award. I couldn't agree more. I'm never paying attention to the Lou Groza Award again unless Hot Rod wins it this year. But that was absolutely ridiculous that he didn't win it this past season. Yeah, baseball is pretty bad. We talked about it. 162 games is ridiculous, and then by the time you win the World Series, you've played 170-something games. It's just insane. If you need 160-something games to figure out who the best teams are, you're doing something wrong. I just think it's ridiculous. People start playing at the end of March, beginning of April. They're still playing when time changes in October. It's just ridiculous. Is the Canon the camera you use for the black and white videos? Well, I can make it black and white. All that's done in an editing program, not with the camera itself. But basically, if I'm you know where I'm holding the camera close to me and pacing back, walking back and forth and yelling in the phone and stuff like that? Though that's done with my cell phone. Anytime the camera is stationary and I'm just moving around, that's done with the Canon. Blake Shelton, no, you don't exist. Do I agree that Tennessee has an underrated wide receiver core? Yes. Behind LouTube extra DVD. Behind the scenes. Actually, somebody came over the other day and had a tour here. It was a little unexpected, but Sunday, was it Sunday morning or Monday morning? It was Monday morning. Is it Monday morning? Yeah, Monday morning. I was out here doing some work, sending some emails and stuff like that, and I heard somebody knock on the door, and I thought it was somebody selling something or something, you know. So I didn't even get up. But Miss Lou answered the door, and it was a guy, looked like, you know, about my age, and his 13-year-old son. They knocked on the door. Miss Lou answered. This is like 11 o'clock in the morning on Monday. Miss Lou answered, and they said, "Is Lou here?" So Miss Lou come out to the garage and said, "Hey, some guy and his kid knocked on the door, asked for you." And I was like, "Are you expecting anybody?" And I was like, "I don't think so." I went to the door, and I didn't recognize who it was, and I went outside. And anyway, they said they were on a live stream a couple of weeks ago, and they had mentioned in the comment section that they wanted to come over. Somebody should come interview Lou's neighbors, right? And people have said stuff like that before. Ha, ha, ha. Wouldn't it be funny to talk to Lou's neighbors? I bet they think he's a moron or whatever. And so this guy was like, yeah, somebody in the comment section was talking about how it would be funny to interview your neighbors. So that's what I'm here to do. And I was like, well, how did you know where I lived? And he said, well, on some of your videos where you're in the front yard, you show the house across the street from you, and I recognized that house because a friend I used to go to school with in high school lives in that house. This guy lives in Atlanta. So, yeah. So he drove down here from Atlanta and went ahead and knocked on my door, and I didn't know he was coming. But he was a nice guy. His son was with him, so I brought him in here, and they took some pictures and stuff in here or whatever. It turned out okay, but it was a little weird in the beginning. I was like, how do you know where I live? But he was a nice guy, and like I said, he grew up here in Augusta where I live. He lives in Atlanta now, and so my neighbor, the guy that lives across the street from me, they went to high school together. And they still keep in touch or whatever. So when he saw that house on video or something, he was like, oh, well, now I know where Lou lives. So, yeah, he came and knocked on my door. And he said that we had talked about it in the comments section, like that he said in the comments section, oh, I know where you live or something, I'll come knock on your door. And that I said, okay, come on. But people say weird stuff like that all the time, and I don't, you know, I don't really remember the conversation that he's talking about, but I do know that you know, people say stuff like that, and I'm like, yeah, come on, or whatever. But I don't necessarily really think they're gonna do it. But yeah, he showed up. He was a nice guy though. Him and his son, they were nice. We had a good time. They stayed for about an hour, talked, and I brought them in here to the UNCLELOU studios, and they took some pictures, and they were nice people. 10-4 saline driver on that. Copy that, sir. Affirmative. Jabari Jones, do you like any of the FCS teams in Georgia? I used to pull for Georgia Southern when they were lower division, but now they're in FBS now. Kennesaw State has a really good team. I don't necessarily follow any of the teams. Like, I can tell you who they're, who all their starters are and stuff like that. But, I like to see the lower classification teams in the state do well. Okay, Master Dreams, come on over. Mercer, yeah, Mercer's okay. I have some cousins that went to school there. Spencer, you're confused, buddy. Uncle Lou did not say the N-word. Nolan Smith or Jermaine Johnson? I have high expectations for both of those guys. Nolan Smith higher rated, but I think both those guys are going to be really, really good. Blake Shelton, can I bring my 46 wives over to your house? No, you can take that to BYU. They'll be waiting on you out there. They love that out there. Lou, do you rent your house out for the Masters? No, I don't, but I have a funny story about that. When I was a kid, I grew up, I don't know how many of y'all might be from Augusta or familiar with Augusta, but the Augusta National, where they play the Masters, is on Washington Road, right? It's the main road in Augusta. It runs from one end of Augusta to the other. And the Augusta National, that's where the Masters is. Right across the street from the Augusta National is a neighborhood called National Hills. And I grew up in that neighborhood, National Hills. I grew up on Azalea Drive. And realtors will scour the neighborhood all the time, trying to get people to rent their house out for Masters Week, right? And my parents would never do it. Finally, one year, my parents decided to let them do it, and they let the real estate company or whatever rent our house out for Masters Week. Now, when you rent your house out through a real estate company like that, you're covered. You get an insurance policy that covers you against anything that happens when you're gone and blah, 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 and all that. But it's still a little nerve-wracking. I mean, you have to clean the house up real good, and there's going to be strangers living in your house for a week, right? So anyway, and these people pay a ridiculous amount of money. I mean, there's people now that rent their house out, and it pays their mortgage for the entire year. They rent their house out for a week or 10 days around the Masters tournament, and it pays their mortgage for the entire year. But we rented our house out. Now this was a long time ago. This would have been in the late 80s or early 90s. So 88, 89, 90, 91, somewhere in there. My parents rented the house out right across the street from the Masters on Azalea Drive, right? We went to Disney World for the week with the money we made or whatever. We came back home that Sunday night. The house was immaculate. I mean, it looked like a maid service had been in there with a toothbrush and cleaned that thing floor to ceiling. The house, I'd never seen the house so clean. So we got home, we unloaded everything, right? And we got ready. We were going to eat dinner that night. We went and opened up the drawer where the silverware go, where the knives and the spoons and all that are. There wasn't a single spoon, knife, fork, nothing in the entire house. Not a single one. Not one. The TVs were there. This was the 80s, like I said, so the VCRs were there, whatever. Nothing was gone. Nothing was taken. The house was immaculate. Every last piece of silverware was gone. And it wasn't even real silverware. It was just like a set of silverware you would buy from Bed Bath & Beyond or whatever the store was back then that you bought silverware. So, and my mom used to love to tell this story too. She would tell this story, and then she would go, yeah, so we called the real estate company. They got in touch with the insurance company. The insurance company called us and said, well, just go buy a replacement, buy whatever you want, send us the receipt, and we'll reimburse you. And my mom used to tell that story all the time, and she would end the story by saying, that's how we ended up with real silverware. My mom went out and bought the most expensive set of silverware she could find. And they paid it, too. They paid it. So, but, yeah, they never rented the house out again after that. That was the only time they did it. And we don't rent it out. We could rent it out now, but it's a lot of work to rent your house out. And when you have kids, it makes it even harder because people are looking to come and stay in a house that they want like a 3-4 bedroom house, which is fine, but they're not trying to sleep in kids' beds and stuff like that. So it would be hard for us to rent a house out. So we don't even mess with it. But we do usually get out of town for Masters. It's a zoo here during Masters Week. It's unreal. But the Masters, if you guys like golf at all, you got to go to the Masters at least once. I'm sure you've heard people say how nice it is out there or whatever, and they do a little bit better of a job now with HD TV, and even 4K TV, but it still is not the same as being out there. It really is. It is the most well taken care of plot of land on planet Earth. There is not a blade of grass or a piece of pine straw out of place out there. It's unbelievable. Do I think Dwan Mathis will be the Q? Yeah, I think Dwan Mathis will be the backup quarterback. No, I've never been to Neyland Stadium. I want to go. And there's a chance I will go this year. It's not for sure, but maybe. I don't have a baseball team. I haven't really been into baseball. I mean, I was a Braves fan when I was a kid. When the Braves went on their run in the early to mid 90s or whatever, that was my, I was in middle school and then high school in the mid 90s. And so I was really into it then, but I just haven't really been into baseball in a long, long time. I've been to Bryant-Denny Stadium, David, but I've never seen a game there. I have a video on my channel of going there and making fun of the Bear Bryant statue and all that. I put the Uncle Lou hat and the Georgia glasses on the Bear Bryant statue. Have you ever followed anything other than football? Well, I mean, I'm a sports fan, so I don't watch very many regular seasons. Now, I'll watch the NBA playoffs. I love March Madness basketball. I like conference tournaments, and then the NCAA tournament. I love that. I watch the World Series if I'm interested in it for some particular reason, and I love playoff hockey. I also like international soccer. I'm not really a fan of teams like club soccer, but I like international soccer, country versus country. David, I'm going to be honest with you. There will be a point in my life where I'm going to do a stadium tour, where I'm going to take one season and I'm going to go to a game at a different stadium every single week. But that's probably not going to be until my kids are out of college. So that's probably going to be about 10 years from now. But that's like a bucket item thing, like a bucket list thing for me. I have a guy, he's friends with my father-in-law, and he graduated from Georgia in the late 70s. And in 1980, him and his buddy road tripped the entire Georgia football season. They went to every home game, every away game, and the Sugar Bowl. And I would love to do something like that. I missed my chance to do it when I was younger, before I had kids. And I can't do it now that I have kids. But that's like a bucket list item. I mean, I would love to go to every single Georgia game one year. Every home game and every away game. And then I have a list of stadiums that I just would like to see a game in. I'd like to see a game in the Big House. I'd like to see a game at the Coliseum. I'd like to go to whiteout at Penn State. I'd like to go to a game at Wisconsin and see the jump around thing. I'd like to go to a game at Virginia Tech and hear Enter Sandman. I'd like to go to the Texas-Oklahoma game one year. I would like to go to the Michigan-Ohio State game. I'd like to go to Southern Cal Notre Dame. But how much of that stuff I'll ever get to do, I don't know. West Virginia, too. Yeah, West Virginia and hear them sing the song. So how much of that I'll ever get to do, I don't know. But I would love to, like, one August, buy an RV or rent an RV and just RV for the entire college football season. Like, maybe follow game day. Like, maybe one year go to the game day game every week. So I'm just following ESPN College Game Day around. But I mean, this kind of we're talking of pipe dreams here now. I mean, a lot of this stuff I'll never be able to do. Well, I won't say never, but you know what I mean. You guys know what I mean. Oliver Wilson, do you think Kyler Murray should go to baseball or you can't ever look. How lucky is this guy that he gets to choose? I'm not convinced he'll make it in the NFL. I think he's a little bit too small. He's a hell of an athlete, no doubt about it, and he's got a lot of talent. I just think he's too small for the NFL. Now, there's a lot of people that are a lot smarter than me that disagree. A lot of NFL general managers and scouts that disagree, but it wouldn't surprise me to see him end up in baseball in a couple of years. Is Georgia Tech? No, Georgia Tech never has a chance against Georgia. I mean, what did they beat us 3 times this century? And the thing with Georgia Tech this year, you brought a new coach in, changed the offense. That's great, but you got an offense full of players who only know how to run the triple option. So Georgia Tech could have a rough couple of years while they turn their roster over. No, don't start a GoFundMe for me. No, I appreciate that, but no. Yeah, Squid Tart, of course it is. I mean, I love doing this, and I would do it for free. I did it for free, basically, for 3 years. But once you decide to, once I made the decision to do it full time, I can't not monetize the videos. Some of them get flagged, for copyright, and then I lose the money from those videos. But what can you do? Does anyone have a chance against Alabama? Yes. Georgia has outplayed Alabama the last 2 years in a row. So, I mean, it's not like Alabama is miles better than Georgia. So, plenty of teams have a chance against Alabama. But you got to play a perfect game, and you got to coach a perfect game. I would like to do a tour of Sanford Stadium, Slim. Somebody was telling me that the other couple of weeks ago that you pretty much can just walk in there anytime you want, as long as you don't go on the field. I don't know about that, but I wouldn't mind taking a tour. I've never taken a tour of Sanford. I mean, I've been there 100 times, but I've never taken a tour. Georgia will win 9 games, 9-3. I don't see 9-3. I could see 10-2. The schedule's harder than last year. We got Notre Dame and Athens. Got to play Florida. They're going to be better. We got Texas A&M. They're good. Auburn, Kentucky. So when you say 9 wins, I'm assuming you're talking regular season. I can't see 9-3. 9-3 would be a huge disappointment. 10-2. I mean, I'd be disappointed in 10-2, but that's a possibility. I think 11-1 is more likely, but 10-2 wouldn't be isn't too unrealistic. Tips to get growing on YouTube. Somebody told me when I first got out of college about going on job interviews. They said, when you go on a job interview, dress one level above the job you're interviewing for. And you have to kind of treat YouTube the same way. The first thing about YouTube is you need to be consistent. And consistent doesn't mean uploading a video every day. But whatever you decide to do, make sure you do it every week. If you're going to upload one video a week, make sure it's every Monday at noon or every Saturday at 4 p.m. Or if you're going to do 2 days a week, make it every Monday at noon and every Friday at noon. Don't make people guess when you're uploading a video. Now, I know sometimes I'll say video tomorrow and then a video doesn't come out. Or, I'll skip a live show here and there. But 99% of the time, I upload a video around lunchtime every single day. And then I have a schedule that I do my live show. I don't just come out here at 6 o'clock on a random Tuesday and say, I think I'm going to do a live show now. Consistency is key, and you need to be consistent, and you need to have a topic and stick to it, whether it's sports, whatever the type of channel is that it's going to be. But consistency is the main thing. And listen, there are some people that upload 3 or 4 videos and their channel takes off and goes through the roof. A lot of these vlog people or whatever that just get super popular overnight, that kind of stuff happens. That is not the norm. That is not the norm on YouTube. If you want to be successful on YouTube, it's a grind. YouTube is not an easy job for the average YouTuber like me, okay? It takes a lot of time, a lot of work, and a lot of effort to run a successful YouTube channel. A lot of people who have never done YouTube before, maybe they just watch it. They watch a 10-minute video on YouTube and they assume someone spent 10 minutes making that video, and that's just not the way it works. Now, it can work that way. You can talk into your phone for 10 minutes and then upload it straight to YouTube. You can do that. And I did that for a long time. And 50 people watched every time you're going to get into it. You're going to get out what you put in. It's like anything else. You got to work for it. Some people get lucky. Like I said, they upload 4 or 5 videos and for whatever reason they just take off. But I have worked like a dog for everything I have on YouTube. During football season, I probably work 70 hours a week. And that's not an exaggeration. Between filming videos, editing videos, uploading videos, posting videos, emails, working out sponsorship arrangements. Just all the extra stuff that goes into it. It's a lot of work, and if you want to be serious about it, you got to treat it serious. Thank you, Nick Saban. I appreciate that. You can call Squidtard. Yeah, good morning, too.
Lou, it's Squidtard.
Yeah, what's up, buddy?
Hey, since you're on the topic of talking about like the fate of YouTube channels and stuff, I wanted to talk about the fate of mine, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the last month, I've been doing that whole Targaryen playoff series. Of course, it hasn't been doing very well. Yeah, I'm almost done with it. I have the Targaryen playoff national championship coming up this Saturday, and after that, I'll be done and going back to making the meme videos that I make. And
You were talking about how some people get lucky when they create content and you have to work for it. My most popular videos on Squidtard happen to be like 5-second meme videos. I made like a 10-second video about how Bigfoot is real and he tried to eat somebody's ass or something. And it's got over 20,000 views. It's ridiculous. I guess I just got really lucky there, and I don't know if most of my subs came from that. But I'm assuming that most of my subs came from LouTube. I just wanted to get your opinion on that and what I should do in the future.
All right, well, I just pulled up your Squidtard channel, and I'm going to take your most recent video here. It was uploaded an hour ago. I can probably guarantee you that there's no one on the face of planet Earth that is on YouTube right now doing a search for Tardarian National Championship. Would you agree?
I would agree with that. It was a thing for the fans a while back.
Right. So here would be my advice on that. It says your thumbnail is great, and your thumbnail says Tardaria playoff and all that. That's fine. That's great. But don't title the video that. Just title the video Vandy versus Georgia Tech football. Or something like, you know, you have to put yourself in the mind of the average YouTube user. I used to, do you remember what I used to title these live shows?
I do.
It used to just be called Uncle Lou Live. Guess how many people were searching for that? Nobody. What's this one called? Which major sport has the worst regular season? That's not a great example. That's not a great example, but if you look at the video, anyway, the point is you want to title your video something that people are likely to be searching for. Now, you can't make it clickbait. You don't want to have a video where you're talking about referees, but then name the video Super Bowl 53, just because you know a lot of people are going to be searching for the Super. I mean, that's a cheap way to do it. People get mad when you do that, and they can even report your video for that too. But like, I'm assuming this Tardaria playoff thing is an NCAA football game of Vanderbilt versus Georgia Tech. That's what I would have named it. Vanderbilt versus Georgia Tech NCAA football 2014 Xbox 360 or something like that. More people are going to find that video if you do that. And same thing goes with the description. Now, the title is the first thing that the YouTube algorithm will look for. So if I do a search for Vandy versus Georgia Tech and you have a video called Vandy versus Georgia Tech, your video is likely to show up in my search results. But the algorithm will also look for words in the description of the video and the tags. Do you use the tags?
I use a lot of the tags. Yeah, I have like 10 different tags that I use in all of my videos.
All right, and you know, you can go to your YouTube page on a computer and you can automate a lot of that stuff. The tags especially. So like...
Yeah, that's true.
So like every video I upload has certain tags in it automatically. Lou, Uncle Lou, LouTube, UGA, Georgia, Bulldogs, college, football, SEC, ACC, Pac-12, Big Ten, stuff like that. And then depending on the video, I only have to add the additional tags. So like today's video already had all those other tags because every video I upload automatically, YouTube just automatically adds those for me because I told it to. So like on today's video, I just have to add a few other keywords: referees, Super Bowl, Todd Gurley, Vols basketball, Tennessee Vols, whatever. You get it. And a lot of people, I think, don't take the time to do that, myself included. Like I said, I wasted 3 years on YouTube because I just would film a pointless video and upload it. I wasn't putting any tags. There was nothing in the description. I didn't care what the title was. I didn't, like, I'm looking at your channel now. Your thumbnails are way better than mine. I have terrible thumbnails. I don't take the time to make, I should, and maybe that's something I can improve on. But, like, your thumbnails are way better than mine. But A lot of it is not
I
really.
learned a lot through like the. Oh, sorry. Keep going.
A lot of it is not. It's not like really any top secret information or anything. A lot of it is really just taking the time to do the things that you probably know you should be doing. Look, listen. By the time I film a video and edit it, I'm so ready to upload it and get people's reaction. You know, like, oh, I wonder if people are gonna like this or whatever. That it's easy for me to skip over some of the boring stuff, like adding tags, making sure the description has the right keywords in it, coming up with a good title, trying to come up with a good thumbnail. It's easy to skip a lot of that stuff, but, you know, all that stuff matters.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of the thumbnails that I used, I use a lot of that, like for the algorithm of YouTube, and trying to hook people in, because if they see a nice thumbnail like that, they'll be like, "Holy crap, this video looks cool. I wanna watch this."
Yeah, but see, like, the problem is no one's gonna see this thumbnail unless they search for Targaryen National Championship, and no one's searching for that. But if this video, and like I said, your thumbnail says, and I mean, your thumbnail is great. The biggest things I see, like when I first look at your thumbnail, I see a Vanderbilt symbol and a Georgia Tech symbol. That right away, that tells me this is a college sports video. And then when I look closer, I see national championship. I see Targaryen playoff. Now, I don't know what Targaryen means if I'm the average idiot, but I see playoff. You know, so I click on it, and then I can see, oh, okay, this is NCAA football. But if the title just said Vandy versus Georgia Tech NCAA football 2014 Xbox 360 updated rosters or something, like, the thumbnail is great, but people aren't going to see it unless they're searching. And not a lot of people are probably searching for Vanderbilt versus Georgia Tech either, but that's where the keywords and all that come in. So, you know, your keywords should be college, football, college football, Vandy, Vanderbilt, Commodores, Georgia Tech, Yellow Jackets. You know what, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that completely. Now, should I title the video like Vanderbilt versus Georgia Tech / Targaryen playoff 2019 national championship, or should I just title it Vanderbilt versus Georgia Tech NCAA football 14 whatever?
I wouldn't put Targaryen in it because no one's searching for that. I mean, I wouldn't. And it says it on the thumbnail. And you can put it in the description, too. You can put it in the description and it's in the thumbnail, but I wouldn't put that in the title.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. I guess I was just going to put it in the description. That seemed like the most greatest option, but I mean, it's going to be good either way.
Right.
I can't wait for that, whatever.
And another thing you need to do, you need to have a Twitter account and an Instagram account that are named the same thing or as close to the same thing as you can get as your YouTube channel. And then the links to those Twitter and Instagram accounts need to be in the description of your video. And every single video that you make needs to be posted everywhere that you can post it. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
I have a Twitter and an Instagram account, as well as a Discord that I use for people who want to chat about things and stuff. But yeah, I see where you're going with the Twitter
and then
when the Instagram
when you post it on Twitter, and this is another area where I don't do as good of a job as I should. But when you post it on Twitter, then you need to make sure you're using popular hashtags. So most college football teams have 1, 2, or 3 hashtags that their fans use on Twitter. Like Vandy fans, hashtag Vandy is probably what it is. For Tennessee, it's hashtag Vol Twitter, or hashtag Vols is another one. So anytime I make a video that's got anything to do with Tennessee, good or bad, I should be posting that video to Twitter and then putting the appropriate hashtags on there, because what you want to do is you want people to find that video who are likely to watch it. Wouldn't do me any good to make a Georgia video, post it to Twitter with a bunch of Vol hashtags, but I would do hashtag UGA, hashtag Go Dogs, whatever. And if you're not willing to pimp your own self out, you can't expect anybody else to do it.
That's true.
I mean, I can't. People get annoyed. People, well, they probably still do. People used to get so annoyed because I'm in probably 50 football Facebook groups or whatever, and I used to, every time I made a video, as soon as it was uploaded, I would copy the link from YouTube and I would go to every one of those groups and post it. Boom, 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 boom. And the problem is, most of the same people is in all those same groups. So some idiot somewhere was getting 45 notifications every time I would post it in a group. So I sort of stopped doing that. Now I just post them. I'll post them in like 2 or 3 places as soon as I upload the video. Then later in the day, I might post it 2 or 3 other places or something like that. But if you're not willing to share your videos all over the place, then how can you expect anybody else to do it? So I share them all over.
That's what I try and do on here. I always try and share my videos through like YouTube, because in all the fan bases of college football, this is the one that I go to when I'm trying to like advertise my content and stuff. But of course, nobody gets the Tartarian playoffs, so sometimes I just say, "Hey, look, Vanderbilt and Georgia Tech are playing in the game thingy on my channel. Go watch it. It's cool."
Yeah. Yeah, and hold on, let me see. I'm looking through some other of your videos here. Power to LouTube. Yeah, I mean, look, when it comes to the editing and all that, you're way ahead of the curve. I mean, so you're in a good starting spot. And listen, here this is it too, and this is the part that's hard to tell people, but it's just the truth. No matter how good of a job you do on the thumbnail, no matter how good of a job you do with the title of the video and the description and the tags, no matter how many places you post the video, if it's a shit video, people are going to click on it because of the thumbnail and all that. But if it's a terrible video, they're not going to watch that much of it, and they're not likely to subscribe. And there's not really any advice. And I'm not saying that your videos are terrible. This is just general, and I'm just speaking in general terms here. There's nothing I or anyone else can do to help someone make good videos. It's luck of the draw a lot of times. Some people have a knack for it, some don't. You could do everything right, not you, just anybody in general could do everything right, and the channel just never catches on for whatever reason. So there's no magic formula that says if you do this, and this, you're guaranteed to have 10,000. You see all these videos, how to get 10,000 subscribers in 1 month. None of that stuff. It's crap. None of that works. A lot of it is just luck.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I never look at those videos where it's like how to get more views on the internet, because it's usually just biased, and if you click on it, it's most likely not going to work, and that's just how it is. And sometimes when I do videos on YouTube, I work countless hours on like editing and stuff, and I do a good thumbnail, I do a good title, and I put it all together and put it in one big video, and it gets like 100 views, and I'm like, what happened? I worked like really hard on this. So sometimes it works out, sometimes it just turns out to be a waste of time. I mean, but I think there's light at the end of the tunnel regarding Squid Tart. I just got to get through this Tartarian playoff series for the fans, and after that, I think I'll figure out where I'm gonna lead this channel.
Yeah, I think if you start, like, I think if you just concentrate on the titles of your videos, I think you'll see a difference pretty quick. Because you're good at all the back end stuff. Like you edit better than I do. and the thumbnails are great. You just have to keep in mind when you're titling the video, who do you want to see that video, and what are those people likely to be searching for to find it? And like I said,
exactly.
no one's searching
you
for.
make a fair point
Now,
there.
see, these people who have millions of viewers and all that, you know, they can title a video anything they want because they got so many subscribers that have the notification bell turned on. You know, they can fart in a cup and title the video "Fart in a Cup," and a million people are going to watch it. You know, but people like me and you, we have to, you know, we don't have that luxury. So if I make a video about Tennessee basketball and I want Tennessee basketball fans to watch it, I have to have something about Tennessee basketball in the title in hopes that some people will find it through just searching on YouTube, you know. And you have to you have to do the same thing.
Even when I create football videos with those like Targaryen titles and whatnot, they get about 100 plus maybe views. And then and I work hard on those videos too. And then you look at other videos where it's just some guy looking at his camera, talking through a phone and talking about the letter H or something. It gets like 1,000 views, and of course I'm sitting here like, what happened?
Well, I go through
this.
I go through the same thing. Like during the season, I spend a lot of time making those preview videos because the editing takes a long time. And I know the whole time I'm sitting there spending all that time making those videos, I know not as many people are going to watch those videos as make my Friday hate video and my Saturday reaction videos. Even though it takes me way longer to make those preview videos. But I do those preview videos year round because slowly that helps me build up the base of viewers, right? Like eventually if I keep previewing West Virginia games, some West Virginia fans are going to start watching me, right? Or like when Georgia loses, like I've built up somewhat of a brand, and when Georgia loses, it doesn't matter what I title the video. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. Georgia could lose, and I could literally upload a video of myself banging a wooden spoon on a frying pan for 5 minutes, and 50,000 people would watch it because there's 50,000 people waiting to see what I'm going to do when Georgia loses a game. But it took years. It took years on YouTube before that was the case. Years. And even though I could do that, I don't. I still title the video Georgia. I make sure I put Georgia loses, and like if Georgia loses to Alabama, I make sure it's got the phrase Georgia loses and Alabama wins, either in the title or the description or the tags or whatever. I still do that. But it took a long time to get to that, you know, to get to that point. And even though I've worked real hard, I've gotten lucky a handful of times too, early on. Starting in 2015, the year we ended up firing Rick at the end of the year, I made 3 or 4 videos during the season that year that went viral in one way or another. Picked up by sports blogs and websites, and I was on ESPN a couple of times. I was on College Game Day a couple of times. You know, I was interviewed by almost every news station in Georgia. And in every interview, I made sure I said, "Go look up Uncle Lou on YouTube."
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. You need to advertise your channel whenever you can. I do that a lot at school sometimes. I just go around telling people, subscribe to Squid Tard, and what do you know? New subscriber on Squid Tard. Yeah. And then they watch it daily, and I'm like, wow, that worked out very well.
Yeah. I mean, I'll never forget the first time I saw myself on Sports Center and College Game Day. I couldn't believe it. You know, people were calling me, "Was that you?" And I was like, and I had no idea I was going to be on there. But you know, that kind of stuff helps. You know, when you can get something like that to happen, but you can't try to do that. Because it won't you know, it won't work. I mean, we got blown out by Alabama. I was at my parents' house watching that game. We got blown out. It was pouring down rain. And I knew I had to do a video because we lost. And you know how these people on the internet are. If you lose and you don't show up, you know, they're like, "Oh, this guy's a quitter. Look how people treat TJ now after disappearing." You know, so I didn't want to do that. So we lost. I had to make a video. I didn't want to do it in my parents' house with everybody standing around. So I went and propped the phone up on the dashboard of my car, sat in my parents' driveway, hit the record button, and just went off on Mark Richt. And that was the whole the video where I go, Jesus Christ didn't play football for a reason. And,
yeah, I had an exact scenario like that when Tennessee got road graded by Florida this year. I just went into my parents' car and I just started screaming my head off with the thumbnail of the orange I use and all, and as my logo. It showed him being angry, and what do you know? The video became popular, and at school, I just remember just sitting in class, just doing my own thing, and then I just hear myself go, "Jeremy Pruitt keeps kicking the damn whiteboard." Like, oh, okay, I think that's my video.
Mac Edge, thank you for the super chat and the donation. Sir, Lou, I'm guessing you're an avid fan of The Bachelor. No. I think I've seen a couple of seasons of The Bachelor. I'm reading a comment somebody left on the super chat. Hold on a second. I think I've seen some episodes of The Bachelor, like I don't know, like 10 years ago or something, but like I know what that show, I guess that's what you're talking about, the show called The Bachelor, but no, Mac Edge, unfortunately you have guessed wrong. Uncle Lou is not an avid fan of The Bachelor. But good morning, though. So, yeah, so that helps. If you do something like that, that video, and then it was like 2 weeks later was the Hail Mary. Wait a minute. No, that was 2016, wasn't it? Was 2016 the Hail Mary game or 2015? God, I can't remember now.
It was 2016, I remember, because that's how I found your channel in the first place.
Oh, 2015 was the Nick Chubb injury game against Tennessee. And I happened to be in Gatlinburg that weekend. And so it was the same situation. I was in Gatlinburg with like 10 people. Georgia lost. I couldn't film the video where I was at, so I had to go back out to my car again. So we lose to Alabama. I'm in my car. That video got shared around everywhere. 2 weeks later, we lose to Alabama. I go back out to the car again, film the video again, and that one got picked up all over the place too. And then, of course, the Florida game that year was when things really got crazy, when I made that Fire Mark Richt video after the Florida game, and that was nuts. That was crazy. So that kind of stuff really helped launch. I mean, I started my channel in 2013. When we played Florida in 2015, I had less than 1,000 subscribers. And it just started taking off from there. And then in 2016, we got Kirby Smart, and there was the Hail Mary game, and, Paul Feinbaum showed that. My video that I made, Paul Feinbaum showed that on his show a bunch of times and then had me on as a guest. And so stuff like that is where I got lucky and had huge increases in my channel in like a short period of time. But the majority of the growth on my channel has been just organic growth from just working hard, putting out videos every day, interacting with people. A lot of, I don't understand. A lot of these YouTubers and a lot of the huge YouTubers don't do any live videos or any type of interaction with their viewers. And I don't understand that. I mean, I get it. If you've got 1 million subscribers and 500,000 people watch every video you make, you can't really talk to everybody that watches your channel like I try to do now. But some of these people just don't do any of that at all. I don't know. It's just weird to me. But I try to include, I try to make everybody feel like, I mean, I know it's my channel. It's the Uncle Lou channel. But I try to make it feel like it's all of our channel. It's like a place for all of us idiotic, over the top, overboard, fanatical college football fans, you know? And I talk a lot of trash,
exactly.
and I piss a lot of people off. I was actually talking to my dad earlier. He was asking about some video. I don't remember what it was now, but I told him, I said, you know, if I can just get people to watch more than one video, they usually stick around, you know? But like every time Georgia plays a team that we don't normally play, so like Texas this year, Notre Dame 2 years ago, that's a big opportunity for me to bring a new audience onto the channel. But if all they see is the trash talk video I do, a lot of times they just watch 2 minutes of it, leave a comment telling me to kill myself, and then they never click back on the channel again. But if I can get some percentage of those people to watch more than one video, then a lot of times they end up sticking around, because then they figure it out that it was just a trash talk video, and the guy actually does talk some real college football, and you know, he does the live shows and blah blah blah. So if I can get them to watch more than one video, they usually stick around. But a lot of them just watch 2 or 3 minutes of a trash talk video and say, well, geez, this guy's retarded, and you know, they never click back on the channel.
Yeah, I've had a few people like that. Most notably, he called into the show like 30 minutes ago, the old Barner. Over the summer, I just remember he called into the show, told me how much of an idiot I was, called me squid bitch, and then he stuck with that until Tennessee beat Auburn, and I made the video talking about how they're the trash can now, just like I promised I would. And he was gone. He didn't come back. He didn't show up until like maybe 3 months later, and here he is now. I mean, it's ridiculous, this Barner guy. And I was thinking about making a video about him several times, showing how much of an idiot he was, but I turn around and don't, and I don't know why. I mean, it's up to you if you want me to make a video about the ultimate troll, but I mean, that would be hilarious, and I know a lot of people on here would love that, just seeing a video where I just go off with the ultimate
Stop
troll.
mistreating Uncle Lou!
Of videos about him and just you or me or somebody else roasting him.
Yeah, I mean, some people like that. When the Ultimate Troll first started calling in here, I thought he was hilarious. And then I sort of got tired of him for a while, and had to kind of put him in his place a little bit on a few things. But now he's back to being, being okay, I guess. I mean, I like arguing with people. I mean, I love it when people call up and want to argue. So, I mean, listen, if I talk bad about Auburn, or like tonight when I say I'm not, you know, I think Auburn might struggle for a bowl win or whatever, I want an Auburn fan to call up and argue with me. So I don't have a problem with that. Ultimate Troll took a few things too far, though. But part of that was my fault. I shouldn't have given a kid my cell phone number, but lesson learned.
yeah, really. But I noticed that you receive a lot of these calls where you argue with different people about things like college football. And I remember when the Sucknut fan called in and talked about how the SEC isn't the best conference and Alabama rules it, and you yelled in his face a couple of times. But I don't remember if you hung up on him or not, but in these calls at the Ultimate Troll, midway through the call, I noticed that you hang up on him, and that might be because you're just tired of what he's saying, or just because you want to take more calls.
Well, usually the only time I'll hang up on somebody is if they start cussing, because I try to, and I know I say a cuss word or two every once in a while on here, but in general, this is a PG-13 channel, and I try to keep it mostly that way. And I'll usually give people a warning, like you know, if you keep cussing, I'm gonna have to hang up on you or whatever. Or if the phone call gets to be 6, 7, 8, 9 minutes long, even if I'm enjoying the call, I have to cut it off at some point.
Yeah, sometimes it gets a little hectic on my live streams too. Sometimes people will call in and just start saying the N-word. I know people do that on your channel too, but just like you do, I kind of just troll with them, but I keep the call longer than it should be going. Regardless, though, not many people listen to my live streams in the first place, so why would it matter?
Well, see, that was the problem I had in the beginning. I didn't want to, when someone called in, I wanted to give them all the time they wanted because I wasn't sure if I hung up if anybody else was going to call. So I would let people stay on 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 20 minutes if they wanted to. But then as more and more people started watching and I knew more and more people were wanting to call in, and it's a tightrope you have to walk because sometimes people call in a bunch of times before they're able to get through. So I don't want them to feel like I'm rushing them through the call. But at the same time, I want the next person who's been calling for 15 minutes, I want them to have a chance to get through too. And it's a tightrope you have to walk because I don't want to piss off the current caller, but I also want as many people to be able to get through as they can.
Yeah, the only person that ever gets mad at me for hanging up on him when I have to take more calls is Mark Johnson, because you already know how much stuff he has to say.
And I have, yeah, and that's the hardest one for me. But I don't know why, but I could listen to him. I could listen to Mark Johnson. I mean, I could just turn the show over to Mark Johnson. To me, he's hilarious to me. I don't know why. And I appreciate what he does because when he calls in, he already knows what he wants to say, and he doesn't cuss. He's none of this pointless screaming the N-word stuff. Now, the things he says is totally ridiculous, but I find it hilarious. And I could listen to him for 10 or 15 minutes, but and I used to let him do that, but now when he calls in, I have to give him like a 3 or 4 minute limit because not everybody in the comment section wants to hear him go on and on about how Kansas is beating Baylor for the national championship because Dale Earnhardt's going to win the Heisman or whatever. But for some reason, it just strikes me as funny when he calls in.
Yeah, if anything, he deserves the title of the real ultimate troll. But anyway, on to the topic of live streams here. Most of the time when I'm on my live streams, I usually, like when not many people are there, I usually just sit there and I broadcast me playing like a video game or something to just keep the people entertained because not many people are going to call in, especially when there's only like 5 or 6 people watching. And I'm having a thing now where I want to live stream on Squidtard every 4 o'clock Eastern time and keep it like that until the end of time.
Yeah, the consistency thing on live shows is way more important even than uploaded videos. Like I try to have my videos done and uploaded by noon every day. Sometimes it's a little later or whatever, and I'm not as strict on that. But with the live shows, I like tonight, I could have started the live show about 9 o'clock tonight because Mrs. Lou went to bed early. The kids were already in bed. I could have came out here and started the show at 9, but I try to keep it consistent because people eventually get used to, okay, it's Tuesday night, Lou's going to be live at 10, So I try to keep the live shows as consistent as I can on a schedule.
Yeah, and it's much harder to stay consistent on YouTube when you have 8 hours of school every day because I wake up at 6:30 every morning to go to school, and then I don't come back until around 4 o'clock.
Right.
And I usually use my time to nap or just work on Squidtard, and there's not like any time I release my videos. I mean, I'm going to be staying up until like 3:30 tonight just trying to finish my homework and do all the Squidtard stuff for the Targaryen playoffs and all that.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie.
Lifestyle, not a health.
Yeah, to run the channel like I run it, I couldn't do it if I was a student or had another job. I couldn't do what I do. There wouldn't be enough time in the day for me to do it. There's no way. And that's why if you go back and watch like the videos that I put on my channel the first 2 or 3 years, there's not much editing. People always say, "Oh, your videos are way better now than they used to be." Well, part of that is because I've just learned how to do them better, but the other part is up until 2 years ago, I had other stuff to do. YouTube was a hobby for me. It was just something I did for fun. Really, I didn't start working on YouTube as a job until a little under 2 years ago. And my channel has tripled. My channel tripled from 2014. Okay, in 2015, my channel tripled what it was in 14. In 2016, it tripled again. In 2017, it tripled again. And in 2018, it quadrupled.
Oh yeah. I didn't even reach 100 subscribers on Squidtard until the beginning of 2018. I had no time to work on like content or anything because I was so busy with cross country and all of that.
Yeah, and you know,
coming up next
in the beginning,
coming up,
getting 100 subscribers in the beginning is almost, I mean, it's hard. You know, the more subscribers you get, the easier it becomes to get subscribers. You know what I mean? Like I get about 1,000 a month now, but I didn't have 1,000 total the first 2.5 years probably.
Yeah, same here. It's still hard to get like subscribers. I'm still counting them by the ones every day. I'm lucky to get like one subscriber in one day. and then I get frustrated when somebody unsubscribes and stuff like that.
Oh, but, I was just saying. I mean, I remember. Yeah, I mean, I used to go to bed with 150 subscribers and wake up with 145.
Oh yeah. I can relate to that.
Yeah, and I was like,
completely.
And I still have to kind of fight this, but I have kind of an obsessive personality anyway. Like, I've never done anything part way. Like, if I'm going to do something, I do it all the way. And that's why I can't drink anymore. Because if I do something, I'm all in, period. I used to play poker a lot. I had to quit that too, because I'm not, I don't go play poker for an hour and spend $20. No. If I go play poker, I'm going to be there for 12 hours, and I'm either going to win 1,000 or lose 1,000. I'm not going to play poker and win $20 or $30. And I was the same way with YouTube. I would obsess over it. I would check the videos every 30 minutes. How many views? Oh, 50 views. 30 minutes later, 52 views. And I was spending like every waking moment like obsessing over YouTube. And I'm a lot better about that now. But I mean, you have to pay attention. I mean, you have to look at your analytics page. You have to, what videos are working, what videos aren't working. Using this word in the title doesn't work. So let me make a note not to use that word anymore. Let me try this set of tags instead of that set of tags. I've experimented with different styles of thumbnails. What style of thumbnail might work better. I mean, you have to pay attention to what's going on, but I was just obsessing over it to the point where it was unhealthy.
Yeah, same here. I'm still obsessing over that too, looking at the analytics every single day. Even at school, on my phone, I have an app now where I can track the analytics, and I look at it all the time to see like who commented here, who did what, and sometimes I'll check the thing, and I only get like one view and then one comment that says this is gay, kill yourself, lol, or something like that.
People in the comment section are talking about poker now. Listen, I used to, probably like everybody else, when I first started playing poker, it would be like with my brother and a couple of friends or something at one of our houses, and we would all bring $20 or whatever. And I started meeting people who played in bigger and bigger games and all this kind of stuff. And next thing I knew, and this was 4, 5, 6 years ago, but I was going to these poker games in town where it was a house, but it was only a house on the outside. No one lived in these houses. You walked into these houses, and it was a casino in there. Poker tables, dealers, crap tables, blackjack tables, 3-card poker, all the food and drink you wanted for free, whatever you wanted. Steak, hamburgers, finger foods, chips, beer, liquor, Coke, water, wine. I mean, these places were basically 24-hour-a-day casinos that were being run on the inside of houses, and it was, you know, $100 buy-ins, $200 buy-ins, $500 buy-ins. Vodka drinker, the house would take a rake out of every hand. But they had bad beat jackpots. I remember one time I went to this one game 2 or 3 days after Christmas, and they had a running bad beat jackpot. And they would start the bad beat jackpot real high. Like, to hit the jackpot, you'd have to have, like, aces over queens and lose, which is almost impossible. But then every week that went by, they would lower the threshold of what it took to actually win the bad beat jackpot. And the night that I went and played, to lose the bad beat, to win the bad beat jackpot, you had to have aces over jacks and lose the hand. And I went and played, and I had been there for about 2 hours, and I won't bore y'all with the whole hand or whatever, but anyway, I ended up getting aces over queens, and the guy to my left ended up getting quad aces. I went all in. Of course, he called, and so I lost the hand, but I won the bad beat jackpot. It was $4,500. $4,500 I won by losing a hand of poker. I got up, tipped the dealer $100, cashed out, went home, packed a bag, and went to the casino spent New Year's Eve at the casino in Cherokee, North Carolina. Spent 3 days up there. Blew that $4,500.
Oh my God, man!
But I had fun though. I don't think I don't think I slept for 4 days. I stayed in that casino for 4 days straight.
That sounds like the life of like a typical college person.
Yeah, I don't even remember most of it.
Speaking of addictions, though, did you see the video on my channel where it said like something like, "Hey, Fansville, look at this," and I had 100 Dr. Peppers lined up all over my floor?
I don't think so, but that's a lot of Dr. Peppers, though.
Yeah, I have a huge Dr. Pepper addiction. I think I started that. I said I started it at the beginning of the college football season, but I think it was sometime in early October where I started that whole thing, drinking 100 Dr. Peppers, and I finished it on the day of the national championship game, Bama Clemson, and I have like a huge addiction for Dr. Pepper. If you told me I couldn't drink Dr. Pepper for a straight month, I couldn't do it. I just could not do it. I am a huge fan of Dr. Pepper, and no matter what, nobody can stop me. And even my girlfriend is like, "Oh, Squid Tart, that's way too much Dr. Pepper, man. You're gonna die." And I'm like, "No, I'm fine. It's just caffeine." And sometimes I drink Dr. Pepper just for the energy that I get from it, because like in the mornings, you know, I like to stay up until like 2:30 to 3:30 every night trying to work on these Squid Tart videos. And I have to wake up 3 hours later for school, and sometimes I just drink these Dr. Peppers just to try and keep me awake throughout the school day. Most of the time it helps throughout until like the end of the day. I have a huge addiction for Dr. Pepper, and I can't stop myself from drinking them.
Dr. Pepper's in my top 3. Coke, Dr. Pepper, and root beer are my 3 favorite sodas. I mean, I'll drink Mountain Dew or Cherry Coke. I don't drink Pepsi. Pepsi's too sweet to me. But Coke, Dr. Pepper, and root beer are probably my 3 favorite. We got Lou Jr. a mini fridge for his room for his birthday a couple of weeks ago. Hell, I ain't seen him since.
Oh my gosh.
He already stayed in there almost all the time anyway, playing the Fortnite or whatever it is he's doing in there. And I told Miss Lou, I said, "You get him that refrigerator, we'll never see him." And sure enough, only time he comes out is when he needs to refill the refrigerator. He likes Mountain Dew though.
Oh, hey, I remember a long time ago, Lou Jr. Said that I was his favorite YouTuber.
Yeah.
Is that still the truth?
He still watches you, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he still watches you.
I remember he asked you what the fourth dimension was.
Yeah. I wish I could get him to be in more of the videos like when he was littler, but the older he gets, I mean, you know how it is. It gets to a point where it's not really cool to do something with your dad, I guess. When he was littler, I mean, I'd have to tell him, no, you can't be in the. I mean, he wanted to be in every video, and now I can't hardly get him to be in one.
Yeah, once your kids grow up, you lose control of them. I don't know anything about it. I've never had any kids, but
Yeah.
I do kind of understand it because I'm a teenager now. I'm 16, and I mean I hardly spend much time with my own parents, and sometimes I try to. Sometimes I'll sit down there and watch TV with them, and they're just sitting down there watching it. But most of the time, my dad's working, and my mom is just mostly sitting down there watching TV, and I'm like, I gotta get up here and just work on videos and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I hardly see my mom on like the weekdays. Most of the day I'm in school, and then she'll pick me up from school. I'll come home, go straight upstairs, either nap or work on Squid Tart, and then she'll make me dinner, and then stuff like that. I don't see my parents very often, but over the weekends I'll try and get with them more often. But over this week that won't be happening. They know about the live streams I do on Squid Tart, so I always I had to tell them that because sometimes they like to make plans like a day before we actually do the thing they want to do, and that could be a huge problem, especially if I have like a planned live stream on that day. So I had to come up and tell them like I'm having these live streams and stuff. But yeah, they're cool with it, and they think it's a cool hobby for me, and they've already told some more of my other family members like, oh wow, look at what our son's doing. It's really cool. And I'm like, yeah, I guess so.
The hardest thing I had to do was, like, as far as my parents are concerned, is try to convince them that YouTube was a job.
Yeah, I know that.
They didn't get it for the longest time.
You see, I live with ambition. I want Squid Tart to become like a full-time job one day, so that's why I'm kind of working on trying to get there. I mean, I'm still just a kid, and I have a long way to go before I even reach where you are right now, but I'm making it there, and I have no idea what I'm going to do. Like, I don't know what job I'm going to have. I don't know what occupation. Like, when people ask me, what are you going to do when you grow up? Where are you going to go? What college are you going to get into? I'm like, I don't know. I don't have any plans. I'm in my junior year now, and next year's my senior year, and everybody's like, now's the time to start thinking of what you're going to do. And I'm like, I still don't know. I really don't know. I want Squid Tart to work out very well, and yeah, I just don't know what's going to happen. What I'm hoping is that I make a video and then boom in the Squid Tart industry, and what do you know? I'm at like 2,000 subscribers, and you get monetized at like 1,000. You don't get much, like maybe up to like $30 a month, but I mean that's just about it. But
well, they have new rules on. They have new rules on monetizing now. You have to have so many hours of watch time within the last year or something. It was different when I first started. It was I think it was 500 subscribers. That was the only requirement. Once you had 500 subscribers, you could monetize your videos. But now it's different. It has something to do with watch time. You have to have so many minutes or hours of watch time within the last 30 days or year or something. 3,000 hours, somebody said in the comment section.
Yeah, I checked the amount of time like a month ago that I have, and I have 500 subscribers, and that's half to 1,000, and I have half the amount of watch hours I need to get monetized. So I don't know. Like, maybe when I reach 1,000 subscribers, I'll probably have the amount of watch hours you need. So that's not really much of a issue regarding me. But I'll take a look at that as I get closer to 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah. And then once you get monetized, that's when you really have to be careful about what you do, because they're real picky about it now.
Something I do to avoid copyright. Don't show this around, but sometimes I go into Adobe Premiere. Like, I'll get a song like on Adobe Premiere, and then I'll repitch it to where I believe it's called the Content ID system, where it automatically tracks a song that's copyrighted, and it'll take your video down before it's even uploaded. I just repitch the song and hope that that'll work. I do that a lot with my live streams, because my very first live streams that I had, where I didn't repitch the songs that I used, all got taken down a month or so after I made the live stream.
Yeah. I can't tell anybody what to do or not to do, especially if people that aren't monetized, because I don't know if the rules are different or whatever, but I can just tell you how it is for me. Any song that is available on YouTube, I can put in any video I make. It won't get taken down. I won't get a strike. But the copyright owner of that song gets all the revenue from my video. Not half the revenue, not some of it. If I use 30 seconds of a song and the video is 20 minutes long, they get 100% of the revenue. The only time my video will get taken down for a song is if the song is not available on YouTube. And I'll give you an example. There are certain artists who will not allow their music on YouTube. Garth Brooks is one of them. Do a search on YouTube for a Garth Brooks song, you won't find it. So if I upload a video and play Garth Brooks in the background, the video will get removed and I'll get a copyright strike. With Tool has never made their music available digitally. So there is no content ID for Tool. Don't tell anybody.
That's a pretty good deal there.
So
now with Sabaton, my favorite band, that they have their songs on Spotify and everything like that. So when I play a song from them, my video has a chance to get taken down unless I repitch the song.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. I've been trying to like find different groups or music that I can use without having to worry about the content ID. And as I get closer to where it really matters, I'll take a look into that.
Yeah. So all the Tool songs that I use, I get the revenue. They don't take it. Unless it's found manually. But Tool does not get picked up by Content ID. So there has been, every once in a while, I'll get an email from YouTube that'll say, this is a copyright notice. Such and such has informed us that you're using their music in this video, so they're now receiving your revenue. But that's because someone actually watched the video from Tool or whoever owns Tool or however that works and filed a copyright claim on it. But just me playing a Tool song, it goes through no problem, and I collect the money just as if I didn't use a song at all. But word on the street is that Tool's putting out that new album here in a couple of months, and I heard that when they put that new album out, they're releasing all of their music digitally when they do that. And if that's the case, Uncle Lou will no longer be able to use Tool music in his videos, and that's going to be a sad, sad day.
That might be a huge problem. That's really going to be unfortunate with all these new rules coming on, like YouTube and stuff. That's just getting more and more harsh on the content creators regarding using music is just insane. And we've both dodged bullets when it's come to YouTube strict rules. I remember when the cayenne pepper snorting Barner dude over the summer, he mass flagged your video and got it taken down, and you got a strike on you, and you had to repeal it. And then on my channel, I had to do it the same thing too, because on my old Squidtard Sports account, that got taken down because I was live streaming the one of the football games, and I realized, oh crap, I'm not allowed to do this according to YouTube's rules, and my live stream privileges got taken away. I pretty much just lost everything on that channel, so I had to create a whole new Squidtard Sports channel.
Yeah.
New rules.
When I was first starting out on YouTube, I'd been doing it maybe 6 months or so. I live streamed Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao, and I just propped my phone up right in front of the TV and live streamed the damn fight right on my YouTube channel. And about halfway through the fight, YouTube took the video down, and same thing, I couldn't live stream for 3 months or whatever it was, and I learned my lesson then on that, so I don't do that anymore. With the Barner, that's what sucks. That's what sucks. Like when the Barner, cause see what YouTube will do. Most times when you file an appeal, most times when you put a claim against somebody, they just take the video down. They don't look into it. They don't ask no questions. They just take the video down. Then it's up to the person whose video was removed, me, to appeal it. Well, they're in no hurry to do that. So, like in the case of the Barner, it took like 6 weeks, and then I got an email from YouTube that said, okay, you win. We're going to put your video back up. But by then, I've uploaded 60 more videos. No one's going to go back and watch it, you know. So it sucks the way they do that.
Yeah, that whole algorithm thing is like if you were playing a football game and a football player tackles one of your guys, and you just out of the blue call like a pass interference play or something, and the refs automatically just give it to you. It's kind of just like that, and it's stupid. It's a huge flaw in this whole YouTube thing. I mean, I hope they get it fixed soon, and I don't see, regarding these new rules, I don't see much light at the end of the tunnel. But regarding them getting rid of some of the I remember it was a whole thing back in I believe 2017. Remember the net neutrality thing? That whole thing. I'm not going to get into that. It's way too much of a political argument. But regarding that, it could help with getting rid of some of these ridiculous YouTube rules. But I don't know. It could put more on there. We'll just have to find out and see.
Yeah. All right, let me let you go, Squidtard. I'm going to end it here in a minute, I think.
Okay, thank you for receiving my call, Lou. I really appreciate it. Make sure to watch the Targaryen playoff on Saturday.
I can't wait.
Appreciate that.
I can't wait. All right, buddy, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Squidtard, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you subscribe. Squidtard, comment in the comment section or whatever so people can click on you and find your channel. All right, guys, I'm going to call it a night. I didn't plan on going this long, almost 3 hours now. But anyway, I get talking and I can't stop. So remember, no live show tomorrow. We'll bring the Wednesday live shows back probably sometime toward the middle of the summer once it gets closer to the football season. But for the off season, we're going to stick to just 4 live shows a week, Monday and Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday and Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern. Appreciate you guys watching. I will have a video uploaded tomorrow for you, though. So, no live show tomorrow, but I'll have a video uploaded for you tomorrow and Thursday. And then we'll have the live show Thursday night and Friday afternoon. But appreciate you guys hanging in there with me tonight. Still 60-something people in here. It's pretty good considering we went this long. So, appreciate all you guys for watching. Thanks to everybody that called in, everybody in the comments section. I really appreciate you guys. I'm serious. I have the best viewers and comment section on YouTube. I owe that to you guys. So I'll see you again real soon. Y'all have a good morning.